Welcome, everybody, to episode number 14 of the Dragon's Den podcast. We are live here on the channel. My name is Eric Hopkins, a.k.a. JEL. I'm joined tonight by Mr. and Mrs. Spooby, Brandon and Miranda, and Matthew down there in the bottom right-hand corner. We may be being joined by Aaron a little bit later on. We'll have to wait and see what he's up to tonight. Yeah, big weekend, I guess, to start the weekend with some big political news, I guess you could say. We had the big debate last night between Donald Trump and President Joe Biden. We're going to get into all that stuff a little bit later on. We're going to recap the debate here in a little bit, but we're going to get into some other stuff first. But before we do all that, how's everybody doing this evening?
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm great.
Yeah. All I know is I got Monday off, so I got a 3-day weekend, ladies and gentlemen. So
That's awesome. A whole bitch for that.
Hey, I've finally got my PTO back Monday morning, and well, I'm getting off to a great start. So you know,
a whole bitch for that. That's all right.
Yeah.
I'm taking off Friday. Not the first week to the second week. Yep.
I know some people were off today. I've just decided, you know what, I need a little time to get some stuff done, as well as I think I'm wanting to do a Forbidden Door review maybe Sunday night. If that show don't end until really late, I might want to have to sleep in a little bit the next morning. So, but we're going to get into Forbidden Door a little bit later on too. So for you pro wrestling fans out there, stick around. Before we get into too much, though, I thought I'd share this cool meme that our buddy Mike sent to us. I thought this was really great, especially when in regards to Aaron last week, who was wearing his Scott Steiner headdress on that he got for D&D and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, if Steiner runs, he's got 141 and 2/3 chance of winning. So, all you Steiner math fans out there, Steiner definitely has better math than Joe Biden. We know that for a fact. So, no doubt about that. So, all you TNA wrestling fans out there, yeah.
Roast.
Do you think Joe Biden's got that big Papa Pump going on up underneath there? You know? No. I mean, we've seen his beach bod.
He built more like Gilbert.
Fair, with the little sparkler and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, that'd be absolutely hilarious.
It's an absolute joke.
That Steiner shit is hilarious. That's funny.
Oh, I love Steiner.
Yeah, Scott Steiner, man. I liked him more when he was a little more flexible before he got all the steroids put in him. For sure.
Side note though, because we're talking about Steiner, you remember that night we met D'Lo and he told us. Said,
oh yeah, I think it was
real.
I think it was Lane asked him about he got these Scott Steiner stories. He just goes, he walked away. He's like, oh, and he come back about a half hour later, was telling stories about him. But yeah, it was hilarious. He clearly was like, that's not a question you want to be asking. So D'Lo Brown was really cool.
It was really cool.
Yeah, I probably got a picture of that D'Lo.
I have a picture somewhere. Me and him took too. Yeah.
I'd look for it right now, but it'd take too long. So. All right, well, we got some stuff to get into. Let's go, without further ado, let's kind of get things started before we get into the more serious stuff with the politics and stuff. Let's get into some more lighthearted stuff with the movie news. Well, we got a new trailer for Deadpool & Wolverine. It just came out today. It is, I guess, possibly the final trailer. And it reveals a little bit of a potential cameo that's coming up. So let's take a look at that real quick, and we'll react to it and let you guys know what we think about it. So here we go. Yeah. So.
Well, that isn't straight to the point.
Literally.
He said, "Shut the fuck up." Oh God.
Oh my. Well, here's the thing about some of these trailers with Deadpool & Wolverine. That dog, though, especially for one. That dog, like,
that movie looks really good.
But I've noticed in the trailers, a lot of the stuff that when Deadpool's moving around and he's saying all this dialogue, it really feels like these trailers are not giving the actual dialogue from the movie. The Deadpool,
like
voiceover work is clearly a mirage. It's not what's actually in the film.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So if that's the case, I'm kind of happy about it because it's actually saving the actual jokes or words for the movie. It's not ruining anything further. So I like that.
Car has seen better days.
Yeah, which this is an image they released today as well. But it's also kind of played off one of Hugh Jackman's older movies, Eddie the Eagle. It's
my God.
Yeah.
So again, in Deadpool fashion, it's just kind of taking stuff from some of Hugh Jackman's stuff and just kind of playing around with it. So, yeah, I thought that was absolutely great. But obviously, the speculation is, what kind of X-Men cameos and things like that from some of the old X-Men movies can we possibly get in this movie. Obviously, anybody on this screen is fair game at this point. I think even more so, even characters in the overall MCU themselves. But we definitely now know, due to this trailer, we have obviously Tyler Mane, who is returning to play Sabretooth from the original X-Men film in 2000. So now we've gone officially full circle here.
Oh, wow.
So we're bringing back from that very first X-Men film. Hugh Jackman and Tyler Mane are going to go at it one more time, just like they did in the finale when they were in the top of the Statue of Liberty. So awesome.
So is this I guess the version of Wolverine?
Well, that from what they haven't told us exactly which Wolverine it is yet. There's multiple timelines in the X-Men movie stuff. It kind of got convoluted. Maybe it'll be the same one. It's kind of the one that was at the end of Days of Future Past that kind of had a happy ending a little bit there. But I don't know if they're going to do that or just kind of say it's a Sabretooth from a different timeline, much like Wolverine.
Well, he said that Wolverine has left his world behind. So,
yeah. Well, he left his
technically that version of Wolverine did leave his world destroyed, right?
It depends. I mean, I don't know exactly how the movie's going to approach it. I mean, maybe.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying they could come at it with that angle.
They maybe could. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, so, and of course, a lot of people think the Logan film, it kind of stands itself apart a little bit. It kind of references the old X-Men movies and things like that, but it's kind of not necessarily a continuation of that Logan. It can be kind of viewed multiple different ways. So I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what they do with it. But
it just depends on which direction they go.
Yeah, exactly. But I at least like the idea that they're kind of bringing it full circle here and having some of these old characters come back, especially Tyler Mane's version. Obviously, Liev Schreiber played him in the Wolverine Origins film, as he played kind of like his older brother, as it were. But yeah, so I don't know. Maybe it'll work
Miranda, out. Like Sabretooth? No comment.
I don't know if she heard us, but yeah. You okay, Miranda?
Miranda, you still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you not hear what he said?
Jackson was good. No, I was paying attention to Jackson. What did you say, Matthew?
I was just asking, what do you think about all this? You think it'd be a good movie?
I do. I can't wait for it. It'll be like the highlight of the summer for us.
Yeah, I think Miranda said
we'll get Jaden out of the house for it.
Yeah, Miranda's like, oh, fine, I'll go to the movie for this one,
because I will say that's one thing that she kind of latched on to, the thing that like we had in common was me watching all these nerd movies and these comic book stuff, and she, granted, Helms helped. Thor helped in that regard.
Oh,
for
yeah.
her to go watch a movie. She liked the first Iron Man, which also was a plus. But Helmsworth helped me out there.
I'll never forget my dad telling me this story about how him and his now wife, I guess, were watching some of the Avengers stuff, and I guess she was like going on about how she loves Thor, because Thor's got the big arms, and I think she liked the long hair before he cut it in Ragnarok.
Oh, and, yeah, Miranda wasn't a fan of that either.
Yeah, well, I guess she liked that, so she's like, I like Thor, and my dad looks at me, he goes, "That's all right, I like Black Widow too." I was like, that's hilarious. So yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I'm like I said, looking forward to this movie. I'm glad they're at least showing us at least one cameo to kind of let you know, hey, we're getting some cameos in here, but at the same time, don't tell us anymore. I think I'm told already. We don't know. I don't want to know anything else about this movie. So
that dog is crazy though, for real.
Literally less than a month away is
the ugliest looking dog.
So yeah, I can't wait for it.
In my life, man, that is a festering look ugliness.
Sticking with Marvel a little bit, which is kind of going to be the theme of the movie segment here tonight. We now have some rumors going around about the potential future of Black Panther. Letitia Wright, who plays Shuri and took up the mantle of Black Panther after the unfortunate passing of Chadwick Boseman. She said recently there is, quote, a lot of things on the way. However, Marvel and Marvel Studios has not announced officially that Black Panther 3 is going to be happening just yet. However, it was just announced that at Hall H in San Diego Comic-Con, Marvel will officially be holding a panel there, which will probably give us the future plans for the overall MCU, and potentially a Black Panther 3 film could get announced there. But apparently the rumor going around right now is that in a potential Black Panther 3, Shuri will pass the Black Panther mantle down to young T'Challa, who they announced at the end of the last film in a post-credit scene was the son of Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa that he had with Nakia. So Shuri, along with Nakia and Okoye, will raise him to be the next ruler of Wakanda in that movie, potentially. So, if that's the way they go about it, what do you think about that?
It sucks. Like, you know, that Chadwick Boseman passed away.
I thought this was going in a different direction.
No, because in the comics there was where she was Black Panther. Just see where it goes. I mean, it just sucks because he nailed it. You know what I mean? Like, and it was just shitty. Like, there's no way to put it. But I was totally fine with her in the last one. Like, I was totally fine with her being Black Panther. I saw no problem with it. But again, because obviously it happened anyway. So
yeah,
they just
had to accelerate the plans for that due to the thing.
It just sucks that it came about because of that. You know what I mean?
And Boseman was awesome. I mean, he was great. He was one of the most awesome superheroes in the Infinity Saga.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, man, he nailed it. He nailed Black Panther.
Well, and people got to understand too that yes, the MCU kind of took a little bit of a dip after Endgame because obviously they kind of had to find their way. You got to understand, Captain Marvel didn't quite hit like they hoped it would. They wanted to center a lot of the new stuff around her. Chadwick Boseman dying, they wanted to center a lot of the new Avengers stuff around him. So that especially put things off a little bit. And Black Panther 2 came off much better than it probably had any right to be because of the fact with him dying literally right when they were going into production onto it. The fact that it came off half as good as it did is an achievement in and of itself. So I think people need to kind of give Marvel a little credit there. But yes, they've had their down moments for sure. Now, there's also rumors going around that after Secret Wars, the upcoming big Avengers crossover stuff that they're going to be doing, that they may be rebooting the MCU a little bit, starting with all brand new actors, but continuing with these characters.
And I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, I think it'd be the right time too.
I think that's fine. I think that's a great place for a reboot.
Yeah, because you bring in all these old X-Men characters, like you get one final hurrah with them. Deadpool, Wolverine. Now, Deadpool may stick around a little longer. We'll have to wait and see. And some new characters like the Fantastic Four, or just some new characters they've just recently introduced. Like maybe if they bring in a Miles Morales, they can maybe continue that moving forward. But like the Iron Mans, the Caps, the Thors, they can all get recast and continue them with different actors.
MCU's doing the right thing here by taking their time with their decision making. They're not. I that's how I feel about the DC films. Is I feel like they didn't take their time to let it grow.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think Marvel's done a really good job of that, of letting the fan base experience not necessarily just new characters, but expanding their characters' storylines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's what Marvel did a good job of doing.
Well, since you brought up the topic of DC, have you been following anything that they've been doing lately leading into their new universe?
Not very much, but I will try to bear with you.
Okay. Well, I've got some videos here on this channel that you can check out as well. But they've got lots of movies and TV series in development. It's James Gunn who's running it, who did the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. So the fact that he knows creatively what Marvel did and their structure, he's bringing that over now to DC, in my opinion. So
and Guardians was awesome too.
Exactly. I think all three movies, they're a little weaker in spots here and there, but at the same time, overall, all three good movies in my opinion. Yeah, and the Suicide Squad movie that he directed as well was really entertaining, as well as Peacemaker. Peacemaker was hilarious.
Those movies were good.
Yeah, exactly. And Peacemaker was great. Peacemaker was hilarious. I thought John Cena killed that role. So if he takes everything he knows about the Marvel structure and brings that over to DC, I think they've got a good
thing going. And if that's the way they want to proceed with Black Panther, back to the topic though, that would be great. And it is very difficult to name when a character is like born for that role. It's very hard to follow up with another actor. It's really hard to do that.
Oh yeah, because he nailed it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Loki for a second?
Sure. Still Marvel related.
This one.
Oh.
The one that just climbed up in my lap. Like
I know.
fighting the chair a minute ago. I don't recommend naming a dog or any type of animal after Loki.
That's why I call him the dog of mischief. Exactly.
Yeah, because he's a
The dog of mischief.
Can you please get down?
He lives up to his name for sure.
But yeah, the Black Panther stuff, like I said, it's very hard for an actor to repeat a role like that. And it was the same thing we got into a couple weeks back about Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
It's very hard to duplicate that success. I'm not saying it's not possible.
Yeah.
It very well could be possible. And this person that you're saying is going to be handed down to, they could raise them up and he could be perfect for it.
Well, same with Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman's going to be hard to replace too when he finally decides to do it.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to get him, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, everybody back one more time.
I think
maybe twice.
I can't. Hold on. I can't see anybody playing Deadpool though. Like I just can't.
Well, that's why I kind of wonder if he may stick around a while because he's only done the 2 movies so far. Well, 3 if you count Wolverine Origins.
I think that Deadpool movie may be a contender for the high box top.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, you got to leave a couple of them to kind of teach the new ones, right?
Yeah,
so.
Right. Which is why I think Tom Holland will stick around a little longer too.
It's rated R.
He's still young enough to still pull it off.
It's going to be funny. People are going to want to see it. It's going to be high in the box office.
Well, in regards to Black Panther 2, you got to remember when this all happened, there were fans going, okay, well, we want T'Challa still, so just recast. But Marvel, I think, did do the right thing and necessarily not recasting right away, because if you do that too, people think you're crapping on his legacy. And they loved him so much that it's a bad thing. So they kind of did the best of both worlds a little bit, as best as they could. They wrote it in a way to where the eventual new Black Panther is still named T'Challa. It's just T'Challa the second, like his junior, his son. So in that regard, you can still recast, but or do some time travel stuff where you maybe travel to where he's older later on. So yeah.
And it respected Chadwick's role.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, and they
and
gave
I
him a proper
that was
burial.
Perfect.
Yeah, I agree with that. And they did it very tastefully too, in my opinion.
Yeah, the second time a movie got me emotional. Was watching his whole funeral.
Yeah. Knowing. Well, not only that, the way the movie structured it too was they didn't like have somebody in a suit getting killed on screen. It was off screen. It was like a disease that Shuri was trying to cure him of, which kind of mirrored the cancer that he had in real life. So again, it just gave it that extra emotional punch. It just sucks. It just really
did.
Does.
It really did.
Not only that, I kept hearing stories that he actually thought up to the week he actually died that he fully believed that he was going to beat it. So it's like at the last moment, like it's just like it just took him. It's like that's just.
And like I said with Brandon, there will never be an actor that nails him.
But they shouldn't try to.
Yeah, you're right.
You make it your own, but that's what he did. He made that role his own.
What he was going to be.
It's just
it sucks. It does. It just sucks.
Hopefully, whenever they do recast, and either it's a brand new T'Challa from another universe or his son that was that they set up at the end of the last one, I hope they just kind of, since he's named T'Challa too, continue to tell T'Challa stories from the comics. You can do that. You can make that work. You could even maybe do this new one. Maybe it's involved with the new Storm that's going to be introduced with the X-Men that's going to be rebooted at some point too. That's always a possibility. So. All sorts of good things coming down the line for Black Panther. You just got to give them a little time because they had a big thing they had to deal with when they were redoing all this. So, coming up next in the final movie news of the night, again, sticking with Marvel and the aforementioned Miles Morales that we talked about here for just a second. There's now rumors going around that Sony Pictures is reportedly beginning casting for the live action version of Miles Morales and who's going to play Miles Morales in a Spider-Man live action film, according to the Snyder, Jeff Snyder, who is a very popular scooper in Hollywood, and he's usually pretty dang accurate too. Now the speculation is, could he be joining the MCU in Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland and then kind of meeting Tom Holland? And the rumor is Tom Holland has signed a 6-picture deal to continue as Spider-Man, Peter Parker, 3 more solo films and like a couple Avengers films and maybe like a television series will pop up in maybe. If that's the case, you bring in Miles Morales now and you could kind of let him meet Peter Parker and then kind of become friends with him. And then by the end of Tom Holland's run, he's trained him enough and he's ready to take over the mantle whenever they decide to move on from Tom Holland. Maybe his character dies or retires with MJ or whatever it might be. If they can never remember who he is after Spider-Man No Way Home. I'll have to wait and see on that one. But I don't know who I would necessarily, get to possibly
I don't.
play it.
Yeah,
I mean,
don't know.
this particular post had some actors. I don't know any of these young guys here. Miles Brown, Alex R. Hibbert, Cedric Joe, and Asante Black. I've never heard of these young gentlemen here, but at the same time, these may be some potential casting that Sony is looking at. We'll have to wait and see. But there's also
But that's nice for fresh faces.
Exactly, fresh faces. Get them young. They could grow into the role a little bit, just like Tom Holland did as well. So at the same time, I'd love to see Spider-Man kind of dive into like your Black Cats and your Silver Sables and some of these other Spider heroes and stuff, which maybe we'll get in the Sony stuff, which also brings up the question is, could possibly they be casting Miles Morales to be the Spider-Man, not in the MCU, but in the Venom verse that they've got going on?
Oh.
I mean, I would prefer it to be the MCU personally because they're better writing over there.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say on this matter is please do this.
Yeah, Jackson would lose.
Oh, don't worry.
Please
regardless of whether they're casting now or not,
for Spider-Man.
Yeah, whether they're casting now or not, Miles Morales in live action is absolutely going to happen. There's no doubt about
Jackson would lose it.
It's a matter of when.
He should.
Yeah, it's a matter of when, not if. At this point, in my opinion.
Yeah,
to see a live action Miles Morales movie, like Jackson loves Spider-Man, right? But not Peter Parker. And it's not that he wasn't exposed to Peter Parker at first, he was, but it was something about Miles' character that Jackson just gravitated towards, and his favorite superhero is Spider-Man, but in that regard, it's the Miles Morales version of Spider-Man. But he loves Peter Parker too, don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah,
it's just for him it's A and then B. Does that make sense? You know what I mean?
Right.
It depends on how that Venom movie will end.
That's very possible.
But I like the direction that Eric is thinking. That Sony certainly could do that.
Well, and Sony's had their missteps too, right?
Yeah.
Madam Web that totally tanked. Morbius was a disaster. They've got Kraven the Hunter coming out at the end of this year, which I'm very nervous about. They were going to make him like an animal rights activist, the last I heard.
That's a good way to start, but at the same time, Kraven the Hunter literally hunted endangered animals because it was all about the hunt for him. It was about the more dangerous it was, the more, you know what I mean, the more thrill it was. Like,
right.
That's why he switched to hunting the most dangerous prey there is.
Well, that they've already said that the Venom: The Last Dance that's coming out this October is the last Venom movie for Tom Hardy. Now, does that necessarily mean he won't pop up in the MCU? Maybe some of this multiverse stuff that they're doing in Secret Wars? Very possible. But if that's the case, if that's the final Venom movie that Hardy's going to be in, the Sony universe may very well should just end there, because these other projects they're doing is not doing very well at the box office at all. Just give the rights back to Marvel, in my opinion. Let Marvel handle Spider-Man, because they're the ones who've been doing it correctly with Tom Holland and the MCU, in my opinion.
I don't think Sony has a future with those movies.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Sony's done some great Spider-Man stuff. The animated Miles Morales stuff has been absolutely outstanding. Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire was great. You know, there's this, and that original series with Tobey Maguire was good until that third film, which they tried to shoehorn too much into it, like Venom. So they've done some good stuff, but they've also done some very bad things, like the Andrew Garfield Spider-Mans didn't really hit very well either. That's why that Tom Holland ended up in the MCU to begin with, because Andrew Garfield's second film failed. So I mean, it's a kind of an up and down situation with Sony. So I don't know. We'll see how this goes, but yeah, I just feel like I would rather see it in the MCU, just me personally. So
I just want to say something real quick, and then I'm not going to say nothing to spoil this. This is totally not movie related, but it is kind of a movie.
Okay.
Paul Heyman is a damn gangster. Okay, I just want to put that out there.
That's the one problem with doing this show on Friday nights. It's happening right during the middle of SmackDown, and I'm not watching it. So, but
I ain't saying shit. You want to see that shit for yourself. But
don't worry.
Fucking champion. All right, I'm just throwing that out there.
Don't worry. I will be watching SmackDown. I'll be reviewing it on my weekly WWE recap on
a Miles Morales movie would be very good. I would enjoy seeing that. You know, it'd be something different.
Oh, it's going to happen eventually.
When it does, it will hit. That kind of stuff will hit.
Man, some of the villains you could use in Miles that's gonna be dope.
Scorpion. Well, you gotta understand this too. They've already teased Miles Morales in the MCU once.
Yeah.
during Spider-Man Homecoming, Peter Parker interrogates what's his Aaron
Davis.
Aaron Davis, thank you. Which is Miles Morales' uncle that if you've seen the animated Into the Spider-Verse movies, that becomes the Prowler.
Yeah,
and he says, "My nephew lives around here." So they've already said Miles is basically in the MCU already. We just don't know how old he is.
They don't know how old he is.
Exactly. So we've already got that connection that's already been kind of got that seed planted already. So and it was funny too when Donald Glover made that appearance in Across the Spider-Verse as a live action Prowler. So I thought that was cool too. So yeah, could they have captured him out of the MCU in that Spider-Verse movie? So yeah, it's got a lot of interweaving parts here for sure. And Sony is trying to kind of mirror the MCU when it comes to the multiverse stuff. So could it play into everything together at some point with all this stuff going on? Absolutely could. So maybe multiverse in the Secret Wars for sure. All that could definitely take place. All right, so since I think that's about all the stuff for the movie news, let's get into, unless you guys got anything else to talk about real quick. We'll get
other than what I just saw. That's great.
I just want to apologize for my audio. It may be screwed up. There's a fireworks show going on behind me, and I don't know how far away.
I knew something was happening.
Yeah,
I wondered if I heard something.
It's at the fairgrounds. So.
It's not too bad.
Yeah,
I seen all those cars and shit pulling in, but I didn't know what they were going there for.
Yeah,
so
they got fireworks there tonight.
Okay, there was a little pop right there. Yeah, so if you hear a little fireworks, don't worry about it, everybody. But yeah, I just keep thinking it's not that time of year yet, but it's really literally next week. So yeah, there probably is.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it, but it is.
Well, so much for trying to sleep in the middle of the night. Be up all night long with all these people, near the highway lighting their fireworks off. So, well, Brendan kind of alluded to it a little bit. So let's get into the pro wrestling segment a little bit. Not a whole lot to really talk about in the pro wrestling segment this week, but I did want to do a predictions episode show, however we want to call it here, for AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling's Forbidden Door pay-per-view that takes place this Sunday night on June 30th here. And of course, there's 12 matches on this card. I know it kind of looks a little over-bloated because AEW still charges $50 for their pay-per-view. When WWE, obviously, you can just get on the network for $10 or so a month. So at least AEW tries to give you their bang for the buck here. But we got the AEW World Championship with Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay. We've got the New Japan IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, Jon Moxley versus Tetsuya Naito. Naito. We got a quarterfinal matchup in the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, Bryan Danielson versus Shingo Takagi from New Japan. We got the AEW TBS champion versus I think it's the never open weight champion from New Japan with Stephanie McClure versus Mercedes Marné, title for title. We got Toni Storm defending her AEW Women's World Championship against Mina Shirakawa from Stardom. We've also got Orange Cassidy versus Zack Sabre Jr. from New Japan Pro Wrestling. We got a ladder match, a 6-person ladder match for the vacant TNT Championship. So far, contenders announced are Leo Rush, Jack Perry, Konosuke Takeshita, Mark Briscoe, and Dante Martin, with the 6th member yet to be named, probably on Collision this week.
That looks awesome.
Yeah, we've also got, because that match is taking place due to Adam Copeland breaking his leg, as we discussed on the channel. We got a trios match with Hiroshi Tanahashi teaming up with the Acclaimed to go against the Elite, the Young Bucks, and Kazuchika Okada. Okada and Tanahashi obviously have a history in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And then we got MJF returning to singles action against Hechicero from CMLL. And we've got 3 matches on the 0 hour as well. Forgive me if I butcher some of these New Japan names. Some of these guys I've never heard of before, but Yota Tsuji and Titan and Hiromu Takahashi versus
Hiromu Takahashi, because we watched him. He was the one that kept saying loose explosion.
Yeah, that's right. And they'll be taking on Mystico and the Lucha Brothers from AEW. And obviously they've got ties to CMLL as well. We got Willow Nightingale versus Tam Nakano. I think that's how you say that. And Chris Statlander and Momo Watanabe in a tag team match.
What now?
It says Momo Watanabe. I'm guessing that's how you. Watanabe?
Momo Watanabe.
Is it Watanabe? My bad.
Watanabe.
Sorry. Like I said, I may butcher some of these. And then Mariah May versus Saraya, which has got a little bit of a feud going on there with Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander. Also got a feud leading into their tournament matchup on Dynamite next week.
Jumping outside, boss.
Yeah, so I know Matt has talked about he wants to see, and we talked about it as well, AEW and WWE doing a cross-promotional show.
I would love to see that.
This is
AEW.
AEW.
I would pay money to see that.
This is AEW's version of that, but it's not with WWE. It's with New Japan Pro Wrestling, Stardom, which is an all-women's wrestling organization, plus CMLL out of Mexico. So this is kind of that style of a pay-per-view. So,
and I like AEW giving these people a platform.
They all have platforms.
Well, they do.
Well, yes, they do.
I see what he's saying, though.
You see
Like,
what I'm saying,
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I know.
you're getting more exposure. Yeah,
a lot of TV exposure from this,
especially in the States.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, you don't
listen. The only match I care about is John Moxley versus Tetsuya Naito. When I first introduced you and our other friend, who shall remain nameless, to New Japan, he was one of the guys I told you about. He was one of the first guys we seen actually come out and wrestle. The way he disrespected that title killed me every time.
Right.
But he was phenomenal to watch. Even though I don't speak a lick of Japanese, I was here for it.
Konnichiwa. I know.
But Naito was just so dope to me. And then you find out that he used to wrestle down in CMLL with El Idolo.
Oh yeah.
They were part of a group together. Literally, the name of the group that he had when he was it NXT or when he debuted? I can't remember. But Los Ingobernables is the same group that Taito had. It was just in Japan, and I'm here for it. The other match, the ladder match. I'm going to tell you who is going to win. I'm going to tell you who I want to win.
Okay.
Jack Perry's going to win.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Who I feel like should win, either Briscoe or oh crap, I can never remember his name. Hiroshi Tama, is that what? How do you say his last name?
Konosuke Takeshita.
Yep, that one.
Jesus.
He got it.
Or as MJF said, take a shitta, which is how it's basically spelled. But,
wow.
Y'all just gonna sit on that man's hole. That's fucked up.
Hey, I thought it was hilarious this week on Dynamite. Did you see what Will Ospreay told to Daniel Garcia? He said, Daniel Garcia, you've been rising up through the ranks. You've been doing a great job of building up your win column here. And he said, you've been going through the competition faster than I go when I have sex with my lady, basically. He looked into the camera and said, I'm sorry, babe, I'm trying.
Wow.
Like, man.
Why would you sit on yourself like that? That's crazy.
I mean,
oh, there's Aaron.
Welcome to the party, Matt.
Yeah, man.
Party, Aaron. Hey, what's up,
let's see who else here. Obviously, Mercedes is gonna win that match, unless old girl signing a full-on contract with AEW. I don't see that happening.
But see, the thing is, that's title for title. So is Mercedes going to take the title?
Yeah, exactly. That's what's gonna happen.
Go do some stuff outside and
because Mercedes would be on AEW television more than she would be on New Japan. So,
how long is that show?
Probably gonna be about 4 hours, I imagine.
That's 12 matches.
Yeah, 3 of them's on the pre-show.
3 of them. Yeah, 3 of them's on the pre-show. So.
Yeah, you're right.
It's still a lot of fucking matches. They can't. Some of them are not going to be that long. I promise you that.
It can't be, or it's going to be like longer than 4 hours.
Well, that is some of the criticism AEW gets. Like I said, they do give you your bang for your buck for paying $50 at the pay-per-view, but at the same time, yeah, sometimes they do go 4+ hours. And sometimes fans are like, man, they don't need to be this long. I kind of get that, but I mean, I guess that's their philosophy.
But you could have broken.
That's what makes AEW unique.
Not really. You could have saved some of these for another. I mean, any of these matches would be great on any pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's
it's just them trying to work all their people, though. I mean,
yeah,
I get it.
Yeah,
hell,
name on the show.
Zack Sabre Jr. and Cassidy could main event a fucking pay-per-view. Yeah. Bryan Danielson and Shigo could main event a pay-per-view. John Moxley and Naito could main event a pay-per-view. Hell, MJF and that guy.
Just
Could main event. Yeah,
See,
got
that's
it.
the one I'm kind of like, well, okay, I know MJF is just kind of getting back into the ring and stuff. This is probably just a way to get MJF a good win and a match on the card to sell the
Semi-main
show.
then.
Yeah.
Semi-main.
But don't get me wrong, Hijicero, that's nothing against him, but it's just clearly MJF's winning that match. No doubt about it.
So that's my 2 cents on it. As far as I guess if we're gonna do predictions, Strickland, Naito.
Okay, stop right there though, real quick.
Okay.
With Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland, how do you predict that they book that? Consider you don't want to make Will Ospreay. I mean, it would be his first loss at AEW. Swerve Strickland. Do you book that like maybe Don Callis and the Don Callis family get involved because they feel like Will Ospreay has turned their back on him?
Yeah, but don't overdo it, dude. Like
I agree. I have no problem if they just beat Will straight up too, because Will's so over enough, it's not going to hurt him. He's the world champion.
Yeah, if you beat your champion now, what's the point of what was the point of him going through everything he went through, doing everything he did, and then for him to just fucking lose?
Well, here's my theory. There's a quarterfinal tournament matchup in the Owen Hart Cup coming up this week on Dynamite. It's Jeff Jarrett against a wild card. Now, this week on Dynamite, the Young Bucks said they're interjecting the wild card into the tournament. So if the Young Bucks are planning it and they said that they've got the tag team titles, Okada's got the Continental title, they want the Elite to have the World Championship as well. So I think it's going to be Adam Hangman Page against Jeff Jarrett this week on Dynamite making his return. If that's the case, Adam Hangman Page against Swerve Strickland, they got that long rivalry heading into All In, their biggest show of the year. That's probably your main event matchup for the world title, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then you have Will Ospreay, against MJF. They also teased on Dynamite this week too. So maybe MJF gets involved in this and maybe cost Will Ospreay the title. There's always that possibility because MJF felt a little upstaged. So people who say AEW is kind of having some struggle with their stories, they are actually getting some better at that. Part of that could be because they have actually hired some ex-WWE writers. That may be part of the deal too, but there's a lot of interweaving parts, especially with the New Japan stuff going on right now. But they've been telling some pretty good storytelling over the last few weeks, so hopefully it continues to improve. And the ratings did come up this week. It wasn't their lowest ratings this week. It jumped back to about normal with the NBA draft lottery was going on and stuff that at the same night. So in that regard, they're on the right track, I think, and hopefully things will continue into Blood and Guts and their biggest show of the year in August at All In. So yeah, but anyway.
Yes. Side note, congratulations to Kel Ware for getting drafted 15th.
No idea who that is.
He was the center from IU.
Any other predictions?
He was drafted to the Heat. So,
okay, I got you.
Predictions: John Moxley wins.
Stop talking.
Yeah, Brandon started. I cut him off. Sorry. But,
what did I say? Strickland, Naito.
Yeah, you're going Naito
Brian,
to beat Moxley. Okay.
Yep.
I mean, okay. I can see it. Maybe
take that belt back to Japan.
I mean, you can, sure.
What? You can't have all your New Japan stars look like ass against that's not.
Of course not. Yeah. You got to give him some wins somewhere.
And Naito's a top guy over there.
Yeah, I agree.
Why not?
Brian, like I said, Danielson.
Yeah, Danielson. Because Danielson, the winner of that match will take on Pac in the next round of the tournament. So I think Danielson versus Pac is the call for sure.
Monet, Storm.
Yeah, Tony. Because Tony and Mariah May will be the world title matchup at All In my opinion. Because they're building that breakup between Mariah May and her. Yep.
Do you have Saber beat Cassidy?
That one could go either way to me, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, not to mention, Don Callis has kind of been trying to recruit Orange Cassidy. They kind of have cooled that off the last few weeks. Maybe he continues to do that. If he takes a loss there.
Yeah, I'd have Saber beat him. Like I said, it'll be Jack Perry for that one.
Yeah, again, it adds to the Elite stuff. Absolutely.
Jesus, and are you dying?
Sorry, I'm trying.
You're good. The Elite over the other group, but you set up something between Tanahashi and Okada.
Tanahashi and Okada.
Not Tanahashi. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 6-man. Yeah. Why not? I mean, yeah, because they, like I said, they've got that history in New Japan, so
yeah,
they're obviously going to tie into that with the 6-man clearly. And of course, the Acclaimed have already got a secured World Tag Team Championship match against the Young Bucks too, so they're going to play into that as well.
So the Elite over the Tanahashi and the Acclaimed, MJF.
Yeah, clearly MJF in that one for sure.
Yeah,
At the 0-hour matches, it doesn't really matter. I think Mariah May might get a win over Saraya just to kind of build her up again, kind of leading into All In maybe. But Chris Statlander, Willow Nightingale, that thing's going to culminate on Wednesday. So yeah, the other stuff is just kind of like it's kind of there, for sure. So the only thing I differ with you on, maybe you have the Acclaimed pin one of the Young Bucks to again get another victory.
I can see that too. I can see
they already
that
beat them
too.
once. That's a possibility. Or like you said, maybe one Tanahashi or Okada, they redo that rivalry. That could definitely be a thing too. So, but yeah, I think that's kind of where we're laying on that one. So I guess we'll end up with that. But
Miranda will watch it, but she ain't about to do no predictions. She especially ladder match, she's not gonna be a fan of. Period.
I can't keep up with AEW. Like I'll watch it, but I don't know who's doing what.
Well, not only that, AEW does have this thing where they kind of rely on you to kind of know what's going on in other companies besides just theirs. Unlike WWE, it's theirs pretty much focused on them for the most part. So it's like if something's going on in New Japan and they bring a New Japan guy over there, I mean, they may show you a video package of what's been going on, but for the most part, if you're not following them, you would be kind of out of the loop a little bit. So that's why some fans get some criticism. But yeah, so. By the way, Matt, we established a couple weeks ago that Aaron's a billionaire now. You know, Elon Musk loaning him money for that.
Oh, Mustard.
Yeah, balling. You don't see that? You don't see his living room? He got a piano.
Don't ask me to move it. I'm not moving the piano.
No, you don't own that one.
Yeah. Not just a piano, a grand piano.
He plays a lot of Mozart and shit on that bitch.
I like the stone archway back there.
Oh, no. I'm sophisticated to the point that no one plays that piano.
Oh, so you just got it to have it.
Dude,
like, okay.
Yeah.
It's like your grandma's couch that nobody can sit on.
Yeah. Or the fine china you can't eat off of, you know.
Yeah. A whole ass living room that nobody goes in. I got you.
Nobody goes in the living room. You just can look at it. That's it.
No bullshit.
That's why you see all these windows right here. People can look in.
My grandma, she had legit. It was a couch that nobody sat on. Don't know why. We just never sat on it. It had throw pillows and plastic on that bitch. You never sat on it. You saw it. It was in the living room, but you didn't sit on that.
Yep.
Here, if I can pull it up. I was trying to pull up because everybody's grandma seemed to have the same couch. Was it just
bro?
me?
If you pulled that couch with that weird
that brown.
I was trying. I was trying to, but I can't find it. Dang it! Well, I couldn't find it on Twitter.
Grandma's couch.
Yeah, that's what I typed in. Grandma's couch.
Hold on.
I got it. I think I can find it. Yeah.
You got it.
No, Eric, I knew you were.
We got here.
Yeah, this thing. Everybody's grandma had this couch.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everybody's. Yep. I don't know why. Like,
even my grandparent has that couch.
So you see the one with the wood?
Yeah.
That's the one.
That's the one right there. Yeah, this one. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
You know how many freaking broken toes I got from kicking one of them fucking couches? I hated them.
Bruh.
They don't. I mean,
but you know what? They didn't fall apart.
No.
They had made a solid oak. You know what I mean?
For years, boy.
Now we get this pressed fiber board shit.
They were uglier in sin, though.
Bro, you ain't never lied.
They were.
I don't know why that memory.
With the coffee table built in the side, yo,
and everybody had that wood paneling in their hallway. Like, was it just me?
No, it was not. In that shag, dirty. The carpet always looked dirty. I don't give a fuck how many times you vacuumed me. That carpet was ran. That carpet was through.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just I was trying to find more pictures. Yep. I don't know why. It just seems maybe it's just the product of the times in the 80s and stuff.
That's another thing. I mean, how many of y'all had friends or had the glow in the dark stars on their ceiling?
Me.
I had them on the ceiling.
I did. I didn't have glow in the dark stars, but my friend had some in his place.
I had. Yep.
Or Eric, were you a black light? Yeah, I say Eric, were you a black light kid? Did you have a black light? You know somebody had a black light?
I wasn't a black light guy.
I had a black light growing up, Brandon.
Bruh, black lights, just because like when we would get ready to go out and shit, somebody would turn the black light on.
I had one of those balls.
Especially if you was wearing white, just to make sure it wasn't shit on your shirt. This was back in the plain white tee era. You know what I'm saying?
Especially if
in my white tee, in my white tee type shit.
We got to go cosmic bowling somewhere.
Brandon and Miranda, you guys remember those balls with like the electricity in it?
Oh,
yeah. You stick your fingers on there like this.
Yeah. I had one of those in my room, and I still have it.
You can probably still buy them at Spencer's.
Yeah,
I
you can.
Our
I had a
kids
lot of
had
those
one.
things.
Yeah, Jaden used to have one. I had a lava lamp.
I don't think I ever had a
One of
lava
those.
lamp.
Yep, I had one of those.
I didn't get any of that freaky stuff as a kid.
What you talking about, big dog?
No, you
Lava
just had all
lamps
your
are
toys
freaky to
out.
you?
Well, just glow in the dark type stuff. The
That was a bunch of stoner shit. The black
Yeah,
light
exactly.
on the with the glow with the posters and shit that lit up on the black light. Yeah.
yeah, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get all that. So I don't.
Yeah,
Anyway.
Kathy was a black light kid. She
Oh, was
still
she?
is.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, Kat. I didn't see your comment there. I'd have pulled it up there.
Hey, Kathy know all about that black light.
Yeah, she's right about that. This show's definitely different when Brandon hasn't been drinking.
Bruh.
Yeah.
For sure. Wait, you and Miranda both. I think last week was came back from a little bit of a get together and had some alcohol and it made it fun.
Oh yeah, that was entertainment as hell.
I enjoyed myself. That's for sure.
It was entertaining as hell.
Well, speaking of entertaining as hell, let's get into the big topic of the week, and we're going to break this down for you guys a little bit. Okay, so for those of you might have seen our live stream last night. Me, Brandon, and Miranda sat down and watched the presidential debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, and we did a live reaction. We weren't able to show the video or the audio or anything, but we got to see our commentary of it and what we thought as it was happening live. Well, tonight we are going to try to show some clips from that and kind of debunk some of the stuff that was said and kind of just talk about some of the topics that were brought up, kind of recap on what happened for those of you who did not see that show live. But you still can go back and watch it with a live version of the feeds on your own and go check that out. It is still here on the channel. You can check it out under the politics playlist. But before we get into the actual topics, Donald Trump had put, I think it was his campaign. I'm not positive on that, but there was this ad that was made about Bidenica. I don't know if you've heard about this. I thought we'd play this real quick. This is hilarious.
If you're having trouble sleeping, ask your doctor about Bidenica, the sleep aid made from 100% Joe Biden press conference.
The best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway.
Bidenica has a patented blend of confusion and forgetfulness that will calm the most overactive brains.
COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, has taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives. When you think about it.
When they sold out American jobs and killed the Keystone Pipeline, it kept me up all night worrying about how we pay our bills. But then I got Bidenica, and I've never slept better.
Sometimes when I get hopped up on sugar, my parents give me Bidenica so I pass out. Other times they give it to me during the day, probably so they can do the deed. Gross.
Warning. Those who use Bidenica have experienced rapid lying and an inability to secure the southern border. Others have hallucinated and fought breakfast cereals.
Corn pop wasn't bad, dude.
Ask your doctor if Bidenica is right for you.
All righty then.
Hold on. Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Okay,
is
so
the type
maybe it
of
wasn't
petty.
his.
This is the type of petty I like.
Yeah, I'm here for it. The funniest part of that ad, though, was the bottom of the screen. The fine print said, "Do not attempt to climb stairs while taking this." It also said, "or operate heavy machinery." But
this is my type of petty.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if you can hear it now, but I got fireworks going off outside my house now.
Yeah.
You sure they fireworks outside your house?
I don't know. It sounded like many bombs. That was pretty close. It might be in the parking lot. I don't know. Just don't set the parking on fire.
All I'm saying
they're at the fairgrounds. It's their 4th of July.
That was masterful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently it wasn't the Trump campaign after all, but still.
And where did Aaron go?
Oh, my bad.
No, he dropped him out. He dropped Aaron out.
Hold on. My bad.
Said,
my bad.
Get your ass to the backstage.
I screwed that up. Oh. My apologies.
Whoops. Kick that motherfucker.
I've got this thing set up to where if I have 4 people on screen, I can hit that. But if I hit that, it drops a 5th person. I accidentally. My apologies. We got you back, brother. It's all good.
I thought my internet was cutting out. So
no, you're good. You're still in here.
I loved how that little boy was hilarious, but that cat took me.
Yeah. But sometimes they give it to me so they can do the deed. Well, I mean, here, Trump. Now that wasn't from Trump's campaign. However, this video here is a 95-second montage of Joe Biden's terrible performance. This is from the Trump campaign. I thought this was hilarious, so we'll share that real quick too.
Okay.
Choice, the idea that they're gonna. I'm proposing that everybody they pay. The millionaires pay 1%. 1%. So no one I should not raise the cost of Social Security for anybody. I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. And we're going to the ability of Medicare for the ability for us to be able to negotiate drug prices with the big pharma companies. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. I mean, billionaires in America. No one was hurt. No one Israeli was accidentally killed, and it stopped. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more border patrol and more asylum officers.
Woo! But yeah, I know it's only 95 seconds, but that's scary. I mean,
it's terrifying.
Go ahead.
Did
Go ahead.
Notice like his face looked off?
Yes, we said that last night. Like it just, I don't know.
It looked like he was. Have you ever seen like the annoying orange?
Yeah.
It looked like that, where it was like Biden's head, but somebody else was speaking.
You ever see where they like superimpose lips over an inanimate object or something, and they're talking or whatever, but it doesn't. It moves around because the green screen, you know. I get what he's saying.
There's obviously, yeah, very well. I mean, there's obviously people who are, talking along the line, like, obviously, did he take drugs coming into this? If he did, like he maybe had at the State of the Union, they clearly didn't work this time, in my opinion.
They kicked in and it was the wrong ones because
either that or this
got drowsy.
Either that or this is the one time they didn't put him in him, and it showed, and maybe there's a reason for that. But we'll hold that thought until the end of this because I've got some theories we're going to get into. But the first thing I want to talk about is obviously all the people who watched the debate are obviously speculating about who lied, who didn't lie. Obviously, Joe Biden said Donald Trump lied. Donald Trump said Joe Biden lied. And as we discussed here on the channel last night, we think Joe Biden pretty much lied up and down that thing. And we're going to go over some of those again here in just a little bit and tell you why. However, before we do that, I thought it'd be kind of what's that?
Sorry, he was just chugging this water. It was like he needs to breathe.
But I thought we'd talk about the lies that the left are saying that Donald Trump told last night. And we'll talk about the differences here. But in order to help me do that, I'm not a big fan of his, but this is Jon Stewart from The Daily Show.
Oh, God.
He did a debate analysis, and he showed a quick little montage of some of the lies that he thinks that Donald Trump told. So let's listen to what that segment said.
We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. A lot of credit for the military and no wars and so many other things. Everything was rocking good. But the thing we never got the credit for, and we should have, is getting us out of that COVID mess. He allowed millions of people to come in here from prisons, jails, and mental institutions. The only jobs he created were illegal immigrants. We had the lowest taxes ever. I didn't have sex with a porn star.
She was a porn character actor at best. I'm not saying she couldn't open a movie, but... So, just so we're all clear, everything that Donald Trump said in that clip is a lie. Blatant and full. And we were tight on time putting this all together. There's plenty more. Really?
Okay, see, this is where I'm going to differ with him on. Not all that was a lie.
Nope.
It wasn't. And I'm going to tell you why on some of these. The first thing he mentioned, obviously, was that Trump said we had the greatest economy ever. Okay. Now, ever is a strong word, and you could argue he exaggerated, but I wouldn't call that a lie. Okay, because he did have a great economy. It was definitely better than Joe Biden's economy. So if you want to say that's a lie, not to mention how many, better than Obama's too. Not to mention how many politicians say we had the greatest this, we had the greatest that, because it's the way you speak to make yourself look good. It's how you sell yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call that a lie. An exaggeration? Fair.
Sure.
Fine. Whatever. All right. Then he said we had no wars under my administration. Technically, I'm sure he meant to say no new wars, which is what Trump says all the time. I mean, I'm sure there were some conflicts going around still at the time, but he didn't cause any new wars and nothing new popped off under his administration. So there was no lie there, Jon Stewart. Not one. So he also said getting out of COVID was a mess. It was, but and Trump said that we should been given credit more for what we did to get out of COVID. And he said, and not to let you, the left likes to say that vaccines are what got us out of this mess. Well, who created those vaccines? Donald Trump's, warp speed. That's what created the vaccines that supposedly pulled us out of that. If that's the case, yes, Donald Trump is right when he should have got more credit for it then, right?
Yep.
Now, granted, we have our own opinions here about the vaccine, I think. But if you're going to go with the narrative that that's what helped us out of it, then you should give Donald Trump credit for that. So again, no lie detected there.
Poor schmoes like Staley. They put this crap on their show to try to boost their ratings.
Right, exactly.
And that's all that is rating fodder. That's all it is.
And it's a comedy show anyway. Don't get me wrong, the segment was kind of funny. But because he even goes on to say, after watching this debate with Joe and Trump, wonder what Robert Kennedy Jr. is doing. So in a way, he was kind of making fun of both of them in a way. But he said that Trump also stated in this montage that were supposedly lies that Joe allowed millions of jails and mental institutions to be let into the country, and Jon Stewart claims that was a lie. Again, where's the lie?
Where?
100% a very real possibility, but the left doesn't want to act like that. They want to.
But who watches this clown?
No, that was an actual. I think it was a study that was done, wasn't it? About the amount of criminals that legitimately came from Mexico and other places.
Yeah. Well, it's just the thing that the left doesn't ever want to admit that anybody crossing the border is anything other than an asylum seeker. Yeah. They want everybody to think that everybody that's coming in are just people who are wanting to live here in America and are good people. But that's not always the case. And we got another example of that coming up here a little bit later. Trump said in that montage that only jobs created are for illegals. But that's partially true, but not all jobs were for illegals. No. But for him to say that he created all these jobs too, most of these jobs were recovered. And a lot of these illegals are taking jobs from other people here in the United States because they could get away with paying them far less money. So Trump is not wrong about that. That's not a lie. But we also got Trump saying that he had the lowest taxes ever. Again, it's probably more of an exaggeration than it is a lie. He still had lower taxes than Joe Biden has currently. So again, what politician doesn't say that sort of thing at all? You can argue maybe he's not being totally genuine. Okay, but this is politics. What do you want?
I'm about to say, but name one politician that is. One.
Yeah, exactly. Now the one that fair, I'll give him this one. He said he did not sleep with Stormy Daniels. Now, to be fair, Donald Trump has stated many times, and he's never said he ever did that. He's always denied it from the beginning. However,
she denies it too in the fucking letter she wrote.
Right, exactly. Now that all kind of changed, but and of course, she got money to be quiet. Whether that be because he actually did sleep with her, or because he just didn't want her talking about this sort of thing going into the 2016 election. Either way. Not to mention, even if he did sleep with Stormy Daniels,
none of your fucking business.
Well, that and sleeping with a porn star there's nothing illegal about it.
Yeah,
Hi.
what
the hell does that have to do without
what that man does in his bedroom or in a hotel room, it's up to him.
Even if he's married. Now, is it morally correct? No, but that's not. Who cares? It's none of your dang business. It's his personal life, not yours.
You took a shower with your daughter. Don't talk to me.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that here a little bit too. I just bring this up because it appears to me now, and again, there's probably others, and I'd have to look into some of these others if there's more that they claim he lied about. This is a short list, okay? However, the left want to say that Donald Trump lied, but all the lies that they claim that he has been telling is not objectively true or provable by data, right? If you actually look at data, some of the stuff that he was exaggerating on, may not have been the absolute top, but at the same time, they're better than what's currently in office now. Or, you know, some of these others are just like, it's more of like they didn't like the way he said it, or they didn't like the morals that he has behind it. But again, we can look at Joe Biden's lies and objectively show where he is lying with impunity. That's absolutely provable. And they just make up stuff about Donald Trump. But you fact check stuff on Joe Biden that we can actually prove. It just feels like they're trying to nitpick with Donald Trump and not actually showing anything of any substance when they try to call out his lies.
But that's always what it's been, though. It's always a nitpick thing. It's always a soundbite shit. I told you yesterday before the debate even started. I had the same conversation with Aaron on the way to work about it. I was like, bro, they're looking for these gotcha moments. And his whole demeanor last night, the way he approached it, the only time you really seen him get like bickery between the two of them was the golf game shit.
Yeah.
And when he told
Did you guys hear him call Brandon? He called him Brandon.
He called him Brandon at one point. And we're going to talk about the golf thing too. We're going to go through all this stuff that basically the segments, but yeah.
And the other one where he told him don't be a child, or he said let's not be children.
let's not be children. And then Joe Biden snapped back, well, you are a child. But anyway,
it's like, bro, listen, a lot of that, because I re-listened to it again today. Like I listened to, and it was, I felt uncomfortable. Like legitimately, it was like sympathy when he started whispering and like not being able to like part of me was like, yo, damn, you going out sad, dog. Like because every video you see of this man, he's always talking big shit, big tough, whatever. And then now it's like, yo, you going out sad, boss. Like
it was
damn.
Now when we were doing the show live last night, obviously we were talking about how, you know, what we felt about all the issues and things like that too. So there were certain things I realized I did miss because we were discussing things as well. So you can't hear every single thing while we're talking as well. So that's why we're kind of going over it again here too. But yeah, it's just not only that, we said on the live stream too that we thought the moderators did a really good job. They were being unbiased, unlike what we thought they were going to be going into the whole thing after all. However, listening to it on a second go around, they were much better than we thought they would be. However, there were things they were doing to frame certain questions in favor of Joe Biden as well. And they were sometimes like the camera would cut away from Joe Biden when he was starting to kind of like look like he was falling asleep or stuff just to kind of focus on Trump. So there were things that CNN and the moderators were kind of doing subtly. It wasn't overt, but there were things that they were doing that was a little bit more than that. So, yeah.
But there were also things like when they cut him off, like when he was struggling for that question, they were like, thank you. And then they moved on like quick as shit. Because it was like, it's one of those was like, do you let him finish what he's saying? Or you just stop him? Exactly. You know what I mean? Because like there were, like I said, there were parts of that whole thing where it was just like, damn, bro, this is hard to listen to. Like,
and I love the fact that Trump, a lot of times, instead of getting upset, getting mad, he let Joe pretty much bury himself. He just
he let him rock.
Was quiet, let him say stuff, and eventually he just kind of went off a cliff. And I think it worked to Trump's advantage. We got
his
a couple
facial
comments.
expressions took me.
Yeah, exactly. Kathy said that Trump's next court date is going to be Trump removing the tag off of his mattress. It'll be about that this time. That's how petty they are.
Going to prison. That's a federal offense. You can't do that.
For those of you just turning in, by the way, we got fireworks going off in the background, so we're sorry about that. There's not much we can do about it. We're going to try our best to go through it. But also, my partner in crime at work, Jordan Harrison, is in the chat.
Jordan!
The first time.
Jordan.
She said from table 4.
Table 4. I work at table 3, so yeah. Good to have you on the show. Hope you enjoy for sure. And congratulations on your engagement to your fiance. So that's awesome as well. So, but yes, so kind of getting into some of the segments here. Before we do that, the shows, the debate kind of opened up with them talking about the economy. So here's a quick look at the economy under Joe Biden anyway. Yeah, I'm going to mute Matt for just a minute because it's on his end. So we'll bring Matt back in here in just a minute. But anyway, this is the economy that is under Joe Biden since his presidency started. This is Bidenomics in action, ladies and gentlemen. So when you're voting this November, this is what you're voting for the most part. And we're going to get into why some of this is his fault as well. So, but
Sorry
yeah.
about that.
Oh, it's fine. Yeah, if it kind of goes real bad, Matt, just kind of mute your mic for it.
It's done. It's over with.
Oh, that was the finale. It sounded like it. All right, cool. All right, so.
No, Matt walked over there and started yelling at him, and they were like, "Okay, fine."
Yeah, exactly.
Just don't vote for this guy.
Don't eat a scroll.
You keep it down over there, eh? So Joe Biden claimed that Donald Trump tried to increase your taxes. That is a flat out lie, by the way.
Bullshit.
Donald Trump gave the middle class a tax cut. It wasn't just the top 1% and all his rich buddies. It was everybody. Everybody had more money in their check during the Trump tax cuts. So this is Joe Biden perpetuating that lie. And by allowing the Trump tax cuts to expire, it's actually going to raise the middle class up by another $1,200. So, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. He lowered the middle class to $1,200, but it's going to raise your taxes again by getting rid of the tax Trump cuts. So, there's that. So the debate pretty much started off with Joe Biden. Within the first minute of speaking, he perpetuated a Donald Trump hoax, and that is, of course, that Donald Trump supposedly told you to inject bleach in order to stop the spread of COVID-19. This is what Joe Biden said.
Economy that was in free fall. The pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach into your arm. You'll be all right.
So that's what Joe Biden claimed that Donald Trump said. Here's what Donald Trump actually said.
Here we go.
During 2020, when he was discussing different treatments that doctors can give you to hopefully combat the COVID-19 virus. And there's different experimentations and different procedures. And this is something that he just kind of spitballed off the top of his head.
We hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light. And I think you said that has him in check, but you're going to test it. And then I said, supposing you brought the light inside the body, which you can do either through the skin or in some other way. And I think you said you're going to test that too. Sounds interesting. Right. And then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number of the lungs. So it'd be interesting to check that. So that you're going to have to use medical doctors with. But it sounds interesting to me. So we'll see. But the whole concept of the light, the way it kills it in 1 minute, that's pretty powerful.
So someone explained to me exactly where in that clip he ever actually said the word bleach.
I didn't hear it once.
He didn't. He said the word disinfectant and injection, but he never once said to inject a disinfection or a disinfectant into your body. Not once.
No, not
He was just talking about experimental, procedures you could possibly do. So again, this whole line that Joe Biden likes to perpetuate, he said inject bleach, never happened. Not once.
The left likes to use the coronavirus as a cushion. They do. They just
Gen Z are eating Tide Pods. So
yeah, well, they like to use it as a crutch to explain some of the things that happened to Trump, and they like to use it as an excuse to things that Joe Biden couldn't do. They like to.
I mean, Miranda, you see this? I mean, it's a cushion, is what it is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe Biden also claimed that he created 15 million new jobs. He said this over and over again. Okay. This is the sort of thing that the White House puts out on their social media, claiming that in the first 6 months of office, Joe Biden created 4 million new jobs, whereas Donald Trump in his first 6 months of office only created 1.122 million jobs. However, the context is completely missing here. What this is entailing is that during the first 6 months of Joe Biden's office were all the jobs from COVID that were being recovered from being shut down during the pandemic. So this is not created jobs by Joe Biden. These are jobs that came back after all the jobs were shut down and were kept shut down by Democrats during 2020 when Trump and Republicans were trying to open them up, but Democrats wouldn't allow it in certain places to make Trump look bad. That was the whole point. So not to mention, this is also a graph that has been perpetuated by the White House and Joe Biden's campaign.
And Trump cleaned up after Obama.
Yeah, exactly. But this shows the jobs created by president average per month during the same time frame in their points that said Trump lost jobs. But again, it's not taking into consideration that the last year of Trump's presidency, everything had to shut down, which lowered his average because they took into account the fourth year, which was all pandemic. So again, the number is skewed negatively against Donald Trump because of that 1 year, and everything is skewed upward for Joe Biden because of the pandemic as well. Again, the context they're leaving out, this graph looks good on paper.
Yeah.
And you show this to people, they just believe it, but without the context, it means nothing.
Look at the Clinton numbers. Look at how they inflated the Clinton numbers on that chart.
Not to mention that exact chart here got fact checked by X. It got a community note on it. It said the 14 million jobs is factually that they're claiming is totally correct. It's factually incorrect and missing important context. It's more accurate to say that 9.5 million jobs have been recovered and 4.5 million jobs were created by Joe Biden. So only 4.5 million jobs created in the same time frame that it took Donald Trump to create 7.3. So in 3.5 years, that's the difference. Trump had 7.3 million. Joe Biden actually had about 4.5.
Yep.
So Joe Biden likes to perpetuate that lie. Not to mention, if you can look at this graph here, pre-pandemic, the trend for Donald Trump's jobs was on an upward, steady incline. Now, granted, in January of 2020, around the time that COVID hit, everything dropped like a rock because of the pandemic. Nothing to do with Trump. But it slowly started to come back during Trump's presidency. Now, in January of 2021, it continued to go upward, yes, but that's under Joe Biden. But it's a steady incline. But if you notice here, it's still not on pace to reach Donald Trump's trend as of January of 2023 here when this was made. So a little behind. So it
still hasn't.
And things are still shutting down.
Yeah, exactly.
Arby's is getting ready to file or has filed bankruptcy.
Fucking Red Lobster had to file bankruptcy.
Yeah.
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 So, I mean, again, context is key in a lot of this stuff. Joe Biden can spout all these numbers, but until you look into it, it really don't mean anything. But people are dumb enough to not actually look into stuff like this.
We got to remember Operation Warp Speed. He forced them to get a vaccine out because they wanted to do research on their lab-grown virus for 10 years before they could get a vaccine out. Mm-hmm. They wanted to have us shut down for as long as possible.
Not only that, when you get a vaccine and they basically give themselves immunity to where they can't be sued or they won't even tell you the ingredients in the vaccine for 15 years or something like that.
Yep.
Makes you wonder what the hell they're trying to force into you. You know.
I also have I want to get a base out of everyone here. Who here thinks that came from a lab?
Everybody.
Me?
Everybody.
Okay, everybody.
It's been proven now. Like
so we're all on the same page.
Yeah, they used to say it came from like a wet market or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't happen. That was
no, of course not. And it's widely accepted now. And guess what? When it happened and everybody on the right and conservatives were saying that was a possibility, they were shut down, demonetized, banned off YouTube, Twitter, you name it, for even suggesting the idea. And much like the Hunter Biden laptop, which we now know is real, which we'll get into in just a little bit, that was shut down as misinformation and, can't be trusted. The conspiracy theories are crazy, and now it's basically confirmed that it came from the Wuhan lab.
Conspiracy theory. They attacked Ukraine. It's a biological weapon.
It was something like, I remember when the first time we heard about it, and I was like, well, where the hell did it come from? The first it was a bat.
Yeah.
It's like a bat.
It's not a bat.
It's like, where have I heard that from? It was a movie. I can't remember the fucking name of the movie.
Oh, there's a lot of those movies.
It started this fucking pandemic. And I'm like, that's how you get zombies. That's my first thought that's how you get zombies.
Now we got zombies.
Hey,
See?
The way the world is nowadays, I wouldn't be surprised. But anyway.
No, they work in the freaking media.
Yeah.
Have you guys noticed that the lifespan of most average humans have been cut in half? I mean, the people that are dying and passing away, you see them on Facebook or on social media.
Healthy athletes in sports are just dropping dead on the field or on the court.
These are people that have taken that vaccine.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, stuff does happen.
I mean, does that not worry people?
It doesn't happen like it, like in this amount. It never used to happen like this. All of a sudden now, just people are just dropping left and right at comedy shows, concerts. I mean, you can find these videos everywhere. It just didn't happen before all this. It makes you really wonder.
I mean, this should bother people.
Yeah. Well, no,
it might be bothering people, and that might be why people are so angry. But they made the choice.
Jordan said, "No zombies, worst fear ever." I'd have to give a shout out to my girl. So, yeah, that's awesome.
No.
Hey, we kind of already got zombies when you got all the people walking around with their cell phones. Just
yeah.
And I'm guilty of that to some degree. We all are, but so I don't know. But Joe Biden also claimed he got his own number wrong. By the way, he said he lowered insulin to the $15 which is actually $35. So he screwed that up already.
Didn't he say $35 later?
He might have later, but when he first said it, he said 15.
Yeah.
Which is actually a bit of a lie anyway, because people don't remember this, but Donald Trump lowered the price of insulin first. Joe Biden, his first week of office, wrote an executive order canceling that from Donald Trump, and then he waited a little while, and then he lowered it again himself, and now he's taking credit for it. So much like
he copied him.
Even Trump said it. He goes, there was a lot of things, a lot of good things there, and he goes, and I think you just got rid of him just because I did it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, exactly. Same with the border policies.
It
Not to
was
mention,
in a way, and Trump said it at the end too, where he was just like, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't. Like, I'd rather be at home. Like, you know what I mean? It was kind of like he was saying, like, dude, why is it so personal for you? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see it like that.
Yeah.
Like, he goes, I genuinely wish you did a great job.
Yeah, because Trump doesn't have to do this.
I'm over it. Like,
I mean, he's doing this, you know, he's not taking any pay. He's the only president to lose money in office. We talked about that as well. I mean, it's like, come on, man. He would much rather probably be golfing in Mar-a-Lago, spending time in his big mansion. I mean, traveling, you know, spending time with his grandkids, his wife, you know, all that sort of stuff.
And his golf game solid. I seen it.
Let me tell you something. Dirty greed does a terrible thing to people. And it seems like Washington is full of dirty greed.
Oh, hell yeah, it is. And Trump's actually talked about that.
That's why they like Joe Biden, because Joe Biden doesn't talk about the dirty greed. He swipes it under the rug.
He's a part of the dirty greed.
the dirty greed.
He's a dirty greed, and he can also be controlled and manipulated. And
yes, he is part of the. Yes, he is part of.
He's what we call the establishment in this government. That needs to be rooted out from the bottom up.
Precisely.
But yeah, so I guess Joe Biden also said. If I got the video of that here. No, but Joe Biden also said that Donald Trump raised the deficit higher than any president in his first term. Okay, so for Donald Trump, it ballooned only because of the Trump tax cuts to everybody, not just the top 1%. So yes, I mean, little money had to be given, you know, because of not taxing as many people. There wasn't enough income coming into the government as normal. Plus, he needed to continually, you know, rebuild our military and use that for the defense spending after Barack Obama and Joe Biden himself has currently destroyed our military. So that's going to balloon the deficit right there, because you have to rebuild the military after Barack Obama left it in a shambled mess. Plus, again, COVID. Yep. When COVID hit, you had to pay for all these vaccines and stuff and all this experimentation and everything, and all these quarantines and things like that. It costs money. So again, it skewed the number way up. So that's why it's the highest, you know, federal deficit of any president.
And why would you?
Oh, go ahead.
Why would you destroy the military if you didn't already see this coming? I mean, it's obvious he knew this Corona crap was coming.
Listen, the military thing for him is one of those, like, our military. I remember seeing this video not too long ago about certain countries, like I think it was like the UK. They were watching videos of our military, like what we can do militarily. And it was like, yo, the US ain't shit to be fucked with. That's not the same any fucking more. Like,
it's kind of like everything right now. There's a theory out there that Barack Obama, much like Joe Biden, does not really care for this country. So Barack Obama possibly was weakening the military in an attempt to possibly get this country invaded or whatever it might be. Joe Biden's actually allowing that said invasion.
Yep.
So there's always that theory out there, whether you believe that or not. Take it as you.
That's what I believe.
But when Trump came in there, he's like, no, we need to be a strong nation. We need to rebuild our military. You know, re-get our supplies and our equipment and ammunition and all that stuff that was at lows that we were probably sending to other countries anyway, much like we're sending to Ukraine right now. So when Trump gets back in there again, who's to say he ain't got to do that another time? Because the way Biden screwed it up again. So when it comes to the federal deficit, though, this is a bar graph. If you notice here at the bottom, I know it's kind of hard to see, but at the bottom, right here in the middle, is 2008, all the way up to 2015. This is Barack Obama's, time frame here of the federal deficit. Okay, look at Donald Trump's between 2016 to 2020 before the huge spike. It was lower than Barack Obama. Now the huge spike is the pandemic. Again. So Trump actually was spending far less than Biden's predecessor and Joe Biden. But again, all the numbers are skewed because of the COVID pandemic. It really makes it really gives the Democrats ammunition to use against Donald Trump, but they're not using honest figures. They're really not. So, and you could argue this first bar here on the very end here for 2021 is obviously because Joe Biden, again, with the pandemic stuff, he was trying to get that under control as well. So again, when you're trying to say he had the highest federal deficit of any sitting president in his first term, you got to give the context, and they don't want to do that because if you want the rest of the stat, number 2 and number 3 on the highest federal deficit of all time is Barack Obama and George W. Bush.
Mm-hmm.
So Biden's president, when he was vice president, was number 2. So yes, so that's just a little bit of context there.
He's always been number 2, Eric.
Fair enough. Now, this is a moment in the debate last night where Joe Biden told the lie that no U.S. soldiers have died under his presidency. So let's listen to that.
I'm the only president this century that doesn't have this decade, that doesn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world like he did.
President Trump, I want to follow up if I can.
So there he was saying no troops have died under his watch as president. Well, here's the 13 U.S. soldiers who died under his watch during the horrendous Afghanistan withdrawal that Joe Biden completely botched. And these are the same 13 U.S. soldiers, and all their names are listed here on the right for those of you who are interested. Those same 13 U.S. soldiers were brought home in caskets, and this is Joe Biden on the tarmac as their bodies are being removed from the airplane in caskets with flags draped over them. Joe Biden is more preoccupied with his watch and what time it was and where he needed to be afterwards than he was with the bodies actually being delivered back home.
So disrespectful.
So again, who's got the moral high ground? It's not Joe. I'm not saying Trump's perfect, but come on, guys. Let's be honest here. Joe Biden also, as was mentioned earlier on, he quoted, he said, 1,000 trillionaires are in the United States, which
Jesus,
you could have easily flubbed that. Like I ain't gonna hold you on that one.
Now he did correct himself. He did correct himself and say billionaires. However, with a little fact checking and a little research, the amount of actual billionaires in the United States, the exact number is 756. So he embellished that number to a degree. So that's another one of Joe Biden's lies. Biden tried to then say many women are raped, murdered by their sisters.
He said in-laws.
Here's the whole quote. Here's the exact thing. Oh, got to back it up just a little bit here. But yeah, here's the whole quote. Oh, sorry.
And he went to the funeral. The idea that she was murdered by an immigrant coming in to talk about that. But here's the deal: there's a lot of young women to be raped by their in-laws, by their spouses, brothers and sisters, by
brothers and sisters.
It's just ridiculous, and they can do nothing about it. And they try to arrest them when they cross state lines.
Thank you.
So young women are being raped by their sisters.
That right there. You see how she cut him off?
Yeah. You see, she saved his ass.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's one of the things the moderators were doing. Actually,
see, that's the thing. See, let him finish.
I can't do this for another 5 months.
Yeah. Well, look. Well, it's only 5 if you count until he gets out of office. Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's a joke.
Oh, don't worry. We're not done yet.
No,
not
I'm
to mention.
telling you how it goes.
Let's see here. I have some notes here, so forgive me here a little bit.
I'm getting my opinion out today.
I said I ain't here for the bullshit.
I mean, I'm just so tired of this shit. It's not even funny.
He also went on to say that he tried to justify or deflect illegals are the ones doing this by saying there are many other women who are raped or murdered by people who are already in this country and are illegals. So again, he's trying to justify his border disaster by basically saying, well, other people do it too. That doesn't mean you just allow millions of illegal immigrants in here. You actually mitigate the problem as best you can where you can. Okay, and you're just letting that happen.
Yeah,
so,
it's like when you were a kid and you were like tell your mom, well, Eric did it, and then my mom would go, well, if Eric jumped off a bridge, you gonna jump off too?
Yeah, exactly. He also avoided the question on limits on abortion because him and Democrats don't want limits on abortion. In 7 states, as a matter of fact, Democrat states, there are no limits or restrictions on abortions where you can have abortion up to the moment of birth and in some cases even after. Now, Democrats don't want you to know that. They want you to act like that's not happening, and they are not for late-term abortions with no restrictions whatsoever. And they say that that's not happening up until birth or after. Here is a doctor and one of many who's been silenced who claims that is in fact happening.
Boy, if a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother. So I think this was.
Well, I don't know if that was a full clip. Dang it.
Doesn't matter.
Anyway, there are doctors out there who have claimed that is the case. Let's see here. What else was said? Joe Biden claimed the border. Oh yeah, here's a really good one. Joe Biden claims that the Border Patrol endorses him and are for his policy.
This one was hilarious.
Significantly increased the number of asylum officers. Significantly, by the way, the Border Patrol endorsed my position. In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation where when he was president, he was taking separate.
So yeah, they endorsed him. Okay, sure. Well, as you saw at the bottom of the screen here, the Border Patrol came out on X and literally during the speech said, to be clear, we never have and never will endorse Joe Biden.
Yeah.
So caught in a lie there. Trump, he claimed that Trump separates children at the border in cages when Barack Obama built those cages. And that, Trump was only enforcing a Barack Obama policy that was already in place. So yeah, he was just following established law on the books. So in that regard, Trump didn't have to like that, but it was the way it was supposed to be already before he got into office. So they try to say Trump was the one doing it. That was not necessarily true. Not only that, if you arrest a criminal or a drunk driver or a murderer or some sort of criminal of any nature, are you going to allow the children to stay with that person, or are you going to separate that person from that child?
Mm-hmm.
It's just the right thing to do and the humanitarian thing to do for that child. So yeah. Let's see here. Biden,
but we already know they don't really give a shit about children. So
yeah, pretty much.
Or we wouldn't be talking about late-term abortion.
Biden claimed that Trump is exaggerating when he says that terrorists are coming into our country. We know many actually are terrorists that are on the terrorist watch list because we've caught a few who've been apprehended. So some of you may not have seen this video, but here's a guy who was interviewed at the border. Come to find out, he is a convicted terrorist.
If you are smart enough, you will know who I am. But you are really not smart enough to know who I am.
You're not smart enough to know who I am, but you're going to know who I am really soon.
But soon you're going to know who I am.
Here's who he is.
Nice. He seems like a fine, outstanding citizen.
Yeah.
Glad he's here.
Glad he's here.
Now, I don't know if this man has ever been apprehended, but they ID'd him through his facial recognition, obviously, in the video. So we know at least one terrorist is here. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And when he's making statements like, you don't know who I am, you're too stupid to know who I am, but you'll know who I am really soon. Sounds like a threat to me.
Mm-hmm.
So Joe Biden, the Democrats want you to feel like all these asylum seekers, that's all they are. No, there's some bad hombres coming into this country as well. So, yeah, there's that. Biden did pass the PACT Act, but he's claiming he's done so much for veterans. Now, I'm not going to lie. The PACT Act supposedly does give more benefits and insurance for veterans. Trump says Biden hasn't done anything for our veterans in this debate. It was in the context as opposed to housing illegals, though, which was mentioned 2 seconds before this. Joe Biden is housing illegals while many veterans remain homeless. So when Trump says he's done nothing for our illegals, he was talking about how he's not gotten them off the street and gotten them proper homes. Mm-hmm. He's talking now. Biden has done stuff for them and their benefits and things like that, according to the PACT Act. However, that's not what was the context of the conversation during the debate. Trump was strictly talking about how illegal migrants were being housed for free in hotels in New York City and all these Democrat-run states. So there's that. I don't think I had anything on that here. Okay, so up next, Biden repeats the yet debunked suckers and losers hoax. Joe passes it off as fact in this video from the debate as well.
Blastoma. I was recently in France for D-Day, and I spoke all about those heroes that died. I went to the World War II cemetery, World War I cemetery he refused to go to. He was standing with his 4-star general, and he told me, he said, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
President Trump.
He got hyped about that, didn't he?
Oh, suckers and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine that's failing, like many of these magazines. He made that up. He put it in commercials. We've notified him. We had 19 people that said I didn't say it. And think of this. Who would say I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taking better care. I'm so glad this came up and he brought it up. There's nobody that's taken better care of our soldiers than I have. To think that I would, in front of generals and others, say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said it was never said by me.
So 19 people said he never said it, compared to one former disgruntled general, John Kelly, who said he did. Trump fired him. So, I mean, 19-1. Not to mention there's absolutely no video, no audio anywhere that proves these claims that Joe Biden made here. And he perpetuates it. The Democratic Party perpetuates it over and over and over again like it's absolute truth and absolute fact. It's not.
Eric, let me. Okay, you see him get heated there?
Oh yeah,
he was
you know
hot.
why
What?
he's heated? But you know why he's heated? Because he's wrong.
Well, not to mention, anytime he's ever given a speech and perpetuated this lie, Joe gets very animated, just like that. Like, how dare he call people like my son sucker and loser? He's only doing it to try to gain sympathy.
Yeah.
That's all he's doing.
I want you to feel sorry for me.
You know, and on this topic too, you know, if Trump really felt that way about the soldiers, then why would he be giving like the soldiers on the front line like Thanksgiving dinner and going and serving them in that regard? And he did that a few times, if I remember correctly.
This comes from a military family.
Not only that, that's coming from Biden. That, you know, when I think it was his inaugural address or something, and he had the soldiers come and protect him because there were threats on his life. And I understand that. But the problem was that he had the soldiers basically sleeping in a garage.
Yeah. And wasn't it when he gave that little speech? I can't remember what base he was at, where he said something and he goes, "Clap for that, you bastards."
I'm about to show that.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. My great-grandfather died. The best friend died in World War II.
Yeah. Now,
so
Biden,
I have respect for that.
Yeah, Biden says that Trump calls soldiers losers and suckers. Here's a video of Joe Biden literally calling armed servicemen and women to their faces and called them stupid bastards.
Jill. And 2, I appointed Johnson to the academy. I just want you to know that. Just clap for that, you stupid bastard. Standing what you may hear about me.
One more
I
time.
just want you to know that. Just clap for that, you stupid bastard. Standing.
But that's okay. And they applauded him out of respect. If watch the guy behind him, though, a little bit. I don't know if you can see it here, but he gets kind of this disgruntled look on his face.
What you may hear about me, I have incredibly good judgment. 1, I married Jill. And 2, I appointed Johnson to the academy. I just want you to know that. Just clap for that, you stupid bastard.
Well, they didn't show it, but in the forward clip, that guy kind of looks like, what the hell? Why would you say such a thing? But not to mention the actual instance he's talking about where he supposedly said suckers and losers. The reason he didn't go to the World War I memorial at that time is because of inclement weather, and Secret Service didn't think it was safe to take the chopper or whatnot. And I think Trump wanted to drive there, but they said, well, we probably shouldn't today. Not to mention that exact memorial Trump went to later on. So he went right back. So if he didn't care, would he have gone? No, he wouldn't have gone at all. But, you know, again, I guess Jordan's talking about Aaron. Yeah. Aaron's got kids in the background too, so I think he tries to mute the background noise a little bit. So yeah, he jumps in when it's relevant, I guess, for sure. But yeah.
All right, I have stuff to say. I gotta wait for kids to calm down a bit.
We're going to mention General John Kelly again, the man who supposedly said that here just a little bit as well. He also claims that Trump said something else that can't be proven. Biden exaggerated when he says he's done more for veterans than any president in history. So yeah, that if you want to talk about presidents who've exaggerated, anybody in history, are you sure about that, Joe? Have you done more for veterans than any other president in history? Okay, sure. Trump did, however, deflect a little bit on January 6th. They asked him about that. He was talking about how the economy and the border was better off that day on January 6, 2021 than it is currently. However, it's not a lie. He absolutely is right about that. Before he left office, the economy was way better. Despite a global pandemic, it was still in better shape. But eventually he did bring up how he said peacefully and patriotically protest when you go to the Capitol. And this is the video of him saying those words, not encouraging January 6ers to riot, but telling them to be peaceful and patriotic.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
So yeah, I mean, there's that. I don't know how you could take anything away from that other than the fact that he was trying to be peaceful with that. Not, he never said go break windows, go bust down doors, go go assault cops, go overthrow the government. He never once said those words.
Eric, can you go back to that screen?
The video? Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Look at the economy at the bottom.
Yeah, up.
Up. Everything's up.
Everything. Yeah, you're right about that.
Balling right there, bro.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely it is. You know, and I will give Joe Biden credit on one little thing here. Recently, he did, I think, broke a record when it comes to the stock market. It was a really high number. It might have been the most. I can't remember how long. It might have. I don't know if it was ever or what it was. However, most of the people in the United States do not live on the stock market. A lot of people don't even use the stock market. It's one metric to kind of gauge how the economy is doing. And not only that, it did come down not long after that. It spiked and came down. So it does go ebbs and flows. So that's not the only indicator. But yes, in that regard, he did do that. I will concede that note. Sticking with that, though, he also, Donald Trump, they say he did 1 to 3 hours without reacting or doing anything. This is the tweet that Donald Trump sent out at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, stating, I am asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful. No violence. Remember, we are the party of law and order. Respect the law of our great men and women in blue. Thank you. But that tweet and a few others that he tweeted was taken down by Twitter at the time. This is before Elon Musk bought X and stopped the censorship of conservatives and people like Donald Trump. Of course, now Trump has been, pretty much, I don't know, he's over X at this point. It doesn't use it anymore. He uses Truth Social. I'd still like to see him come back to X at some point because that would get his message out a little bit more, in my opinion. While Truth Social, is nothing wrong with that either, but there's more people on X, unfortunately. Yeah, so that's one instance that he did that. He also sent out a video later in the day telling everybody to go home. We have to have peace and all this sort of stuff. But again, that video was suppressed as well. So when the left and Joe Biden likes to say that he did nothing, he sat on his hands, it's an absolute lie. It's not true. And Donald Trump in rebuttal talked about how Nancy Pelosi was actually responsible for the National Guard, that Donald Trump said that he was offering to give her 10,000 soldiers from the National Guard to protect the Capitol on January 6th for the peaceful transfer of power. But Nancy Pelosi turned it down. This is a recently released video of Nancy Pelosi's own daughter doing a documentary on Nancy Pelosi. Interestingly enough, on January 6th, explain that one to me. Just happened to be there on that day. And Nancy Pelosi inadvertently gets caught in a lie here when she says we had responsibility for the Capitol Police that were not there.
We have responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have.
Such a bitch.
This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police? I mean, the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
Because you turned them down.
They thought they had sufficient resources. No, there's not a question of how they had been. They don't know.
Either that or she completely misread the situation. One of the two.
Not having them just prepare for more.
So she flat out owns responsibility in that video. So again, how is it Trump's fault again that the Democrats continue to peddle? And we've got January 6ers who've been thrown in jail. A lot of them broke the law and they did certain things they should have done, like breaking windows and trying to attack cops, which we showed video on the channel not too long ago of Capitol Police actually possibly even instigating all that to the peaceful protesters. They were firing rubber bullets. One went through a guy's cheek and was stuck in his jaw. And they were shooting tear gas and things like that into the crowd while they were remaining peaceful, which instigated them to get out of control. Those videos of the January 6th are actually out there online. You could find that. And there's a lot of peaceful protesters who did nothing wrong, like old grannies who are just sitting in jail right now, being horribly mistreated, treated as treasonous traitors to the country. However, a little bit of bright news of that came out today. I don't know if Miranda saw this probably, but the Supreme Court has officially ruled that charges brought against January 6 patriots are not valid. Hundreds of Americans that are being held as political prisoners for protesting a sham election will be released, thanks to the Supreme Court.
Yes, I did see that.
Yeah, that's good.
So again, you could say Trump was going to pardon him. Well, Trump's going to pardon all these patriots. Well, the Supreme Court just did it for him. Again, a lot of people think the Supreme Court is biased. It's not. Trump just
Well,
filled
I'm
the
sure
states.
the Democrats really like that.
Yeah. I mean, if the whole argument about the Supreme Court being, biased or one-sided right now, by the way, if Hillary Clinton had been in office at the same time and 3 Supreme Court justices retired or like in Ruth Bader Ginsburg case died, if that were to happen, you think Hillary Clinton wouldn't have put 3 leftist liberals on there? Of course she would have. So Trump just happened to be the guy in office when he had to appoint 3 justices. And if that's the case, he all he did was his job. He appointed justices and they got put through. So to say it's not balanced, that's not Trump's fault. He was just following the rules. And if something happens during Joe's office, he can do that well. He already put one woman in there who doesn't even know what a woman is. She can't define what the woman is. Ketanji Brown Jackson, who is a woman, says she can't say what a woman is because she's not like a biologist. And yet she's making laws. That's legit fact, by the way. You can look up her testimony. So,
oh man.
Oh yeah, that's the whole January 6th thing. But to jump back to Afghanistan real quick, because I accidentally skipped over it. During the Afghanistan withdrawal, this is a picture that was taken by the Taliban in Afghanistan of all the U.S. military equipment that Joe Biden left behind.
That's wild.
This is just the military vehicles that the Taliban are now using that they used at the time to retake Afghanistan under their control. So when Joe Biden left, he left Afghanistan on a silver platter for the Taliban.
Might as well.
Yeah. And it wasn't just military vehicles either. Here's all the weapons.
Oh yeah.
But Joe Biden wants to preach to us about gun control.
Yeah.
I will not take preaching from people who are hypocritical like this. I mean, look at these.
Hold on, Eric. Hold on. He is doing gun control. He's just giving it to other people.
Yeah, that's true. He's controlling who has them.
You know what? That's a solid point, Aaron.
That is.
I'm just saying.
You're right.
He's getting them out of this country, right, and giving them to another country, in the hopes that there will be less gun violence here and more gun violence over there, right?
Yeah. Aaron, you're exactly right, because that's what they want to tear America apart. Yeah. So that's why they're letting all the illegals in,
and they're succeeding, Miranda.
Who's to say some of the people who cross our southern border are not these people?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they didn't cross with weapons. Maybe they did. If they weren't caught, we don't know.
Terrifies me, Eric.
I mean, if they didn't cross with weapons, they're gonna get them here.
Yeah, I mean, they could get them illegally here easily.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like, see, the whole thing that I disagree with gun control. It's like, if a evil person wants to get a gun, there are ways to get it. Heck, if you watch the show Sons of Anarchy, I know that's not like, defined in any sort of way, but all the time that they were doing gun deals, that was all illegal guns.
Yeah.
And that stuff happens.
Yeah.
So
not
if
to mention,
somebody really wants a gun, they can find it.
Yeah. Well, the left likes to say, well, we need stronger background checks. People who claim that sort of thing have never tried to buy a gun, because if you buy a gun, you know the type of hoops you got to go through just to get one.
Yeah. Well, you better not have, but yeah.
Man, those are armored trucks they got right there.
By the way, including at gun shows, you can't just go to a gun show and say, "Okay, here's your gun."
Hell no.
So
I know for a fact that's a bullshit, because it took me it was about a solid half hour before I was able to purchase a weapon.
Well, yeah, the internet sucked. That it sped up or slowed down the process.
So I mean, there are checks that are in place, and people already skirt them. So putting more restrictions on there isn't going to do any good, especially if you want to do these gun-free zones. Ask Chicago how that's working out.
Yeah.
I mean,
how do you think they get those guns?
Yeah. Now, some people say, well, they get them and cross over state lines.
Yeah.
Maybe so, but it still gets there. It still gets there.
Yeah.
Illegally.
Not only that, when you disarm the general populace, you make them defenseless at that point. Why do you think these mass shooters go to malls and schools? Why? Because they're gun-free zones. There's no resistance. Unless somebody, like in the state of Indiana, we have a concealed carry law. I know there was a shooting at a mall in South Bend where my dad lived. I think it was there that a law-abiding citizen was carrying a concealed carry handgun in his back, and shooting did take place. Now, he was not supposed to have it in a mall, but in the state of Indiana, it is legal to have it on your person.
That was Greenwood.
Well, okay, Greenwood. I knew it was nearby, Greenwood, and I guess he stopped the shooter because he was carrying. And then, you know what the cops told him? Good job.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
First of
Pat
all,
on the back.
that shot was crazy because he had a handgun, dude had a rifle, and they said the distance was crazy. My man nailed that motherfucker.
Yeah. So I mean,
good for him.
Yeah, good for him. Exactly. So I'm glad to see that. Let's see what else was.
They were.
Yeah, go ahead.
The thing that they were saying about Chicago, that they were getting it from other states. It's like, even if they did ban all guns in America, the same thing would happen. They'd still be able to get guns from like Mexico, and Mexico would still be able to get it from probably the Taliban.
Yeah.
Yep. Apparently that's where the guns are right now.
I mean, there's
drugs are illegal too, and
that shit gets through every day.
Yeah. We banned alcohol once. How'd that go?
Yeah.
I mean, we banned drugs. People still do it. I mean, it's not going to stop a darn thing. If anything, it's going to make things worse. So I hate
the guns are illegal as shit over in the UK, but look how violent.
If you want to make this country safer, get a gun, learn how to use it properly, practice with it so you're prepared. It deters people from doing things to you and your families.
Honestly, a part of getting a gun, they should also do. Well, they've kind of got away with it with driving, but you had to go through driver's ed. I mean, that was the thing when I was getting my license, that you had to go through driver's ed before you could get it. Maybe we should do that with guns. You have to go through a gun safety course and pass it.
Yeah.
To be able to get a gun.
When I first got when I got my concealed,
we should join. Hold on. We should join the militia. Find the local chapter.
Well, that's the other thing they say. The Second Amendment is only for a well-regulated militia. Well, you know what the well-regulated militia was back when that was written? It was the United States citizens that can assemble to go against a tyrannical government. That's what it means. It doesn't mean that you have to be part of a military operation or something to that effect. Farmers, anybody. And yes, you could have owned a cannon at the time too, by the way.
Farmers.
But no, real quick though, Aaron, to what you were saying, when I went and got my carry concealed the first time in Ohio, guess what I had to do? There was a course you had to take. There was classes you had to go to for like
you have to be shitting in
2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks you had to do these classes.
I'm not necessarily against that either.
Then you had to take a final test at the end in order to get it, which was a shooting test. You had to run through all the gun safety protocols, all that shit. And if you fumbled on any of those, you had to take it over again. Like, I get it. It's not, obviously when they did the thing here, we didn't have to do any of that here. But it's still not like I haven't, pushed for Miranda and myself to go shooting again, to get more familiar with our guns and shit. Like, yeah. And like, again, our kids, we want to teach them gun safety too. Like that's another thing. Like, especially if you have children, you want them to know all this shit. It's just some people skip these steps for whatever fucking reason.
Well, and people who want to perpetuate this stuff like Joe Biden, like we got to do this or that for gun control. It's the and people who know me know I don't know everything about guns, but I know enough to know enough about them to understand that the stuff that Joe Biden and the left keeps to want to do, it's by people who don't understand guns. Like Joe Biden's like, well, we got to get rid of people who've got 1,000 rounds in a magazine. That doesn't exist.
That doesn't help.
It's like the military has something like that.
Yeah,
maybe.
And those are in big trucks.
It comes out faster if you have a bump stock on it or some shit.
That's not how it works.
Yeah, good luck carrying 1,000 rounds in your magazine.
Yeah. First of all, that's heavy as fuck. It's heavy as hell, boss.
Not only that, he talks about how we got to get rid of assault rifles, and he's talking about an AR-15 when he says it. An AR-15 is not an assault rifle. It looks scary. It looks like an assault rifle or something, but it's not. It's not really even a military grade weapon, I don't think.
My father has one.
It's a semi-automatic, which means one pull of the trigger, you get one round. An automatic means if you hold the trigger, you get multiple rounds.
You know where you get most of those? You know where you get most of those on? Handguns.
What? Yeah, handguns are the same thing. So if you're going to ban the AR-15,
what I'm saying is what he's talking about when you have fully automatic weapons. They're usually handguns. Don't get me wrong. There are some guns.
Well, they can be jerry-rigged, I guess, and things like that. But
there's things you can buy. Yeah, they're illegal for you to buy. That's why you can't purchase them in a store.
So if they're already illegal, what else can you do? So, but my point is, if you're going to ban a semi-automatic rifle with one trigger, you get one round, same as a handgun. Are you going to ban handguns now too? Which they're not talking about. But that's the same exact thing. An AR and AR-15 does not stand for assault rifle. It stands for Armalite rifle. So again, It's to make you scared that you're going to get shot. That's all they're trying to do, which is why a lot of people on the right think not only is he trying to restrict your right to have guns, to control you, but also to eliminate your right to have guns, which is against the Second Amendment and the Constitution and
That's
everything.
right where I was going, Eric. It's
Which is what the Second Amendment is for. The Second Amendment is not for protecting, your family. Well, it's not supposed to be like for personal protection only. It's to protect against a tyrannical government in case they ever get out of control, much like the fascist regime that's in there now.
for that, dude.
Yeah,
but that's what the left wants to do. They want to rewrite the Constitution.
Yeah, they want to ignore it,
and I don't like that.
I would rather. What was it? I think it was it Thomas Jefferson who said something along the lines of, "I'd rather have dangerous freedom than peaceful slavery."
Slavery. That is Thomas Jefferson.
That is absolutely correct. I mean, and he knew he should know. He was there. I mean, come on. I mean, these
our
are people,
founding fathers would roll over in their grave if they seen what this country's now.
Yeah,
they
100%.
would.
Yeah,
they just
and to Brandon, I know we've said this before on the channel too, but to Brandon's credit, the same government who's saying you need an F-15 to overthrow the government, or the same government who's trying to say it was almost overthrown at January 6th with unarmed protesters. All they had were flagpoles for the most part.
And you're right, Brandon. You're right by that.
Wow, but that's it.
It is. It's wild. You're right.
So again, you can't trust these people. Moving on here. Let's see. What else do we got here? He claimed that the courts for the election integrity struck Trump down on lack of evidence. He's wrong about that.
That's wrong.
The courts that supposedly looked into the evidence of whether or not the election was stolen did not strike it down on lack of evidence. They struck it down because they were too afraid to look at the evidence and have the courage to actually go into it further. So we've got multiple videos of people ballot stuffing boxes when they drop off the ballots with like hundreds at a time, taking photos to get paid to do so. We've got multiple videos of them boarding up the windows at ballot poll places.
Dead voters.
The dead voter stuff.
People are getting arrested for voter fraud now.
Yeah, it's starting to finally come out a little bit. Certain states are realizing, they've done it, and it's actually being proven. So again, where was Trump lying? They tried to make him out to be this crazy conspiracy lunatic, but just like the Hunter Biden laptop, he was absolutely correct about that. Joe Biden then called Trump a convicted felon, leaving out all of the context to the case of which Donald Trump was convicted for, which was pretty much a sham. If you want to know more info about that in detail, go check out our Dragon's Den episode number 11, if I'm not mistaken. So go check that out here on the channel where we talk about that trial in detail. But yeah, it was a complete sham. Democrat judge, Democrat state, Democrat jury, all the above. Granted, that's where this crime supposedly happened. But at the same time, you think Obama could have got away with, or everybody would have been okay if Obama was convicted in like a red state with red district and all that sort of stuff. Not to mention,
Trump sleep through that though.
Well, he claimed he was resting his eyes and stuff. He was probably bored as hell because he knew it was garbage.
But that's what I mean. He already knows the verdict's been handed to him. So
yeah.
So why is he there wasting his time?
The Attorney General in New York City, who brought the prosecution to him on this trial, literally ran on the fact when he was running for office that he said, quote, "I will get Trump." That is, and not to mention Joe Biden's third in command at the Department of Justice, Biden's own DOJ, left his cushy job at the Department of Justice to go work at the DA's office in New York. Why? To specifically bring this case against Donald Trump. So when Donald Trump says that Joe Biden's Department of Justice was weaponized against his political opponent, that's exactly what he means. It's not because the case had much merit in it at all. It had to do with hush money payments that were logged wrongly and like a clerical error at his booking. So it's like they tried to say that, but not to mention the statute of limitations expired on that case and everything like that. So they tried to tie that to the fact that it was election interference. But obviously, we now know that the suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian interference, because this is the debate. The last time that Trump and Joe Biden were on a debate stage back before 2020, where Joe Biden lied to your face about the Hunter Biden laptop being Russian disinformation and his son's laptop was not real.
50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plant. They have said that this has all the 5 former heads of the CIA, both parties, say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage.
This is classic.
So yeah, so right there at the debate last time, he's flat out lied to you. We now know
we have those 5 heads of the CIA quotes.
Well, it was 51 and former intelligence agents, maybe 5 heads of the CIA.
It doesn't matter.
But it doesn't matter now anyway, because whether they got the quotes or not, because in the Hunter Biden gun charge trial where Hunter Biden was convicted on 3 felony gun charges, the laptop was introduced as evidence by the FBI used to convict Hunter Biden. So if you're going to use that to convict Hunter Biden, it's clearly not Russian disinformation. Otherwise, it would have been inadmissible in court. So now that they've used it to convict him, everything that's on that laptop, including everything that potentially implicates Joe Biden and his dirty business dealings with his son Hunter and his dirty business over there with Burisma in Ukraine, can eventually come back on Joe Biden. So hopefully they will continue to look into that sort of thing,
Eric,
and that's what they do.
If I was to ask Joe Biden today, face to face, if he said that it was not a Russian conspiracy to take over either Ukraine or another country, and he would say that he had nothing to do with it, it would be a bold-faced lie.
Well, I got my theories about how, potentially, because Joe Biden's also on video talking about how if you don't fire the prosecutor looking into my son in Ukraine, me and Barack Obama are not going to give you $1 billion in aid.
Yeah,
and then
the prosecutor, hush money.
Yeah, the prosecutor was fired, and when he was fired, it makes you wonder now. The reason why we're sending Ukraine all this money is maybe that's money repayment in order to get his son off the hook. It really makes you think about that sort of thing. And perhaps the United States has interest in possibly going against Vladimir Putin, taking him off the board, and they're using Ukraine to do it.
Yep.
It really
Why
makes
would they be so scared of Putin?
Yeah.
If they had nothing to hide,
because
they should have
Putin,
nothing to fear.
people like Putin, Xi Jinping, and Kim Jong-un, whether you think they're dictators or not, they're not part of what is called the globalist agenda, the one world government, to where that everything is ruled by one world government. So if they don't agree with it, they want to be left alone. The one world government people, the elitists in this world, are going to label them as dictators and fascists and murderers to make it look okay when they go after them and take them off the board. So again, I'm not saying Putin and Xi Jinping or Kim Jong-un are good people. At the same time, though, it really makes you think about whether or not what you've been told about them is 100% true, because they talk about Russia having all this propaganda. Maybe America is the one that has all the propaganda. So it gives you something to think about for sure here. But then again, during this debate, Joe Biden literally said the words that he has not done anything wrong in regards to Ukraine or Hunter Biden. So time will tell on that one. As I just said, we clearly know that he lied about the validity of the laptop already. So we'll see if that plays out more so as we move along here. Then Joe Biden attacked Donald Trump's morals, claiming that his moral compass is that of an alley cat, if I'm not mistaken. So if you want to talk about morals, Joe, not saying everything that Donald Trump has ever done is completely, on the up and up. Not saying that. No one's ever claimed that, but it doesn't affect me personally. But Joe Biden to claim that he's the moral high ground is absolutely ridiculous. Hey, where's my mouse? There we go. So
you got it.
Oh yeah, sorry, it kind of froze for a second there.
Yo, you kicked Aaron out again.
Oh, my bad. well, he's out because he left for a second. I'll bring him back.
But like I was saying, that's exactly it. It's a Biden administration lie to make it seem like they have nothing to do with Ukraine and nothing to do with it. There is hush money on that laptop, and I know there is.
Well, not just that. We got bank records and receipts and text messages that prove that he was dealing with his son's company while he was vice president and was using that influence in Ukraine. So that is an impeachable offense. It absolutely is. But we won't know that until probably he's out of office, at least, because no one's looking into it. His own Department of Justice, he says that the Department of Justice is independent and it's on its own. They have no control over it, but yet his Department of Justice, run by Merrick Garland, will not look into it. Why is that?
Yeah, why is that?
That's why the Republicans are trying to hold him in contempt of court with stuff on the border and things like that. So, yeah, that's what's going on here. So if you want to talk about Trump's morals, here's some Joe Biden morals from way back in the day where he plagiarized and lied before he ran for president the first 2 times.
Questions stem from taped remarks of Biden during an April campaign appearance in New Hampshire.
I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, the only one in my class to have a full academic scholarship. Went back to law school and, in fact, ended up in the top half of my class. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school and 165 credits, only needed 123 credits.
Biden now concedes he did not graduate in the top half of his law school class, that he does not have 3 degrees from college, and that he was not named outstanding political science student in college.
Newsweek says Biden actually went to school on a half scholarship, ended up near the bottom of his class,
and won only 1 degree, not 3.
Joe Biden ranked 76th in a class of 85 at the University of Syracuse Law School. I mean, this guy comes off this whole thing as a flyweight.
Now Biden says Newsweek is right. His memory had failed him.
His memory was even failing him way back
Damn.
back in the day in the 80s.
Damn.
Damn.
The only difference about this is the time when the journalism and the media actually did their damn job and didn't cover for him the entire time.
Yep.
That's the difference. So, not to mention, you want to talk about morals. Here's an excerpt out of Ashley Biden's diary, where she claimed, quote, was I molested? I think so. I can't remember specifics, but I do remember trauma. I remember not liking the Woolsacks house. I think it's the name in there. I remember somewhat being sexualized with Caroline. I remember being sex with friends at a young age, including showers with my dad, and probably not appropriate.
That is a wild fucking thing.
This is directly from the FBI, who stated that diary is 100% legit. And even Ashley Biden has gone on record that now she has to live with the fact that the world knows her personal business.
That is messed up.
You want to talk about Trump's morals, huh? Okay, let's go there. Well, I don't have the picture of it, but let's talk about Tara Reid for a second. Tara Reid, who also claimed that Joe Biden sexually assaulted her, is now currently hiding in Russia because she's seeking political asylum due to the fact that Biden's Department of Justice is trying to go after her because she won't shut up about her claims of sexual allegations against Joe Biden.
And see, right here's what I'm talking about. Right here, these people are running. Why do you think they're running?
That's wild, bro.
Well, Tara Reid's running because if not,
scared to
probably,
death of these people.
Yeah, Tara Reid's running because she'll probably end up dead if she doesn't.
The Clintons were just like this.
Exactly.
We're reliving it again.
So can you start to see now why people like Joe Biden don't like Donald Trump? Because Donald Trump is not afraid to tell you how it is and expose this bullshit.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. That's why they're going after him.
That's why.
So, yeah, he's a convicted felon. Why is that? It's not because he necessarily did anything convictable. Not to mention they were changing the law to where they could use the statutes of limitations and things like that.
Because they're so scared of him that they have to convict him.
Yeah, they're trying to throw him in jail, or worse, they may try to kill him. If he goes to jail, he is going to get sentenced on July 11th in this courtroom over that supposed sham trial. If they try to throw him in jail, they may try to kill him in jail, much like they did like Jeffrey Epstein, who did not kill himself, by the way.
No.
So we'll see what happens there, and hope to God he's got. And they've also put in Congress. Some Democrat Congress people are trying to get a law passed to where if you are convicted of a felony, you no longer have Secret Service protection. Why would they be trying to do that unless they're trying to remove Secret Service protection from him if he's put in jail?
Yeah.
It's dirty, guys. It really is. Think about this. After this, Biden said Americans.
Dirty mess.
Biden said Americans who vote for Donald Trump are voting against democracy. So he basically just told the world that half of the country is anti-American.
Well, he's been doing that. He shit on all of us a while ago.
Yeah, in that infamous dark red, Hitler-esque speech that he gave, which they edited in campaign ads later to make it not look quite so authoritarian. So yeah, he's been doing that for a while, but at the same time, you think Trump could have got away with that?
But it is fascism. It's what it is.
Well, in Biden's case, yes, but he's trying to claim that anybody who votes for
Biden's
Trump
case,
doesn't love America. Yeah. So he also perpetuated the infamous very fine people hoax, which again is something that the Democrats love to lie about. Here is Joe Biden making that lie again.
100% exoneration on this, sir.
Fine people on both sides. What American president would ever say Nazis coming out of fields carrying torches, singing the same anti-Semitic bile, carrying swastikas were fine people? This is the guy who says Hitler's done some good things. I'd like to know what they are. The good things Hitler's done, that's what he said. This guy has no sense of American democracy.
President Trump.
Jake, both of you know that, sir, has been totally wiped out, because when you see the sentence, it said 100% exoneration on this. So he just keeps it going. He says he ran because of Charlottesville. He didn't run because of Charlottesville. He ran because it was his last chance. He's not equipped to be president. You know it, and I know it. It's ridiculous. We have a debate. We're trying to justify his presidency.
Now, I want you to rewatch that clip real quick again. When when Donald Trump says that it's been debunked by everybody, and because Jake Tapper knows this, who's one of the moderators, because he's even talked about how it's been debunked before. Joe Biden looks. Yeah, I know. Joe Biden looks like he's never heard that before. He acts like he's never heard of the fact that it's been debunked. Listen, watch his face again.
100% exoneration on this. So he just keeps it going. He says he ran because of Charlottesville. He didn't run because of Charlottesville.
So
the man looks like he's lost.
So one of two things is going on here. Either he's lying and trying to make it look like, he's feigning ignorance here, or he legitimately does not know the true context in this situation. And if that's the case, that's even scarier, because that means he's being fed propaganda by his own people, and he's probably believing everything they're telling him about Donald Trump. And that's how you get him to perpetuate the lie. If he's a good, well-intentioned, hearted old man with a bad memory, as Robert Hur once put it, which is why they won't convict him for some of his crimes, like the classified documents scandal.
Okay, I'm about to say about the classified documents that were going on there.
So if he legitimately believes this, that means the commander-in-chief is too stupid, too dumb, too ignorant to look into the fact that it's been fact-checked by everyone. And all you got to do is look at the original video. All you got to do is look at the original video from that instance where Joe Biden is claiming that Trump called Nazis very fine people. Here's what he actually said in full context.
And you had some very bad people in that group, but you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group, excuse me, I saw the same pictures as you did. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down of, to them, a very, very important statue and the renaming of a park from Robert E. Lee to another name. And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists.
So the people he's talking about is people who didn't want history erased and didn't want statues torn down that erased their history. He was not talking about Nazis and white nationalists, as he said in the clip. But the left loved to take the first portion of that and not show you the second half where he denounced them. And they claimed that he called Nazis very fine people. So right there, they're lying to you. And Joe Biden doesn't know that, or doesn't appear to know that based on his reaction. So shouldn't that scare you, that the fact that this is the man who holds the nuclear codes is not smart enough to know when he's being duped by somebody?
Miranda, go get this guy. I'm done. I've done my piece for tonight.
Well, not only that, Trump said in the debate, literally, that Snopes has debunked that. Here's this Snopes debunking of that. Literally.
Man, I've been trying to tell the truth for 7 fucking years. Nobody wanted to listen to me.
I know.
Yeah, I've been called crazy too.
I know.
So don't feel bad. So to be honest, I felt a little vindicated by this speech, because if Joe Biden showed the curtain finally came down for a lot of people in this country. They saw the true Joe Biden for the first time, not drugged up, was making up bullshit. And now it's finally starting to get fact-checked by CNN themselves, which we'll show here in just a little bit. I'm not quite done yet.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Wait, Eric. Wait. You were called wait, what did you say? Sorry. All right.
A crazy conspiracy theorist?
Yeah, you weren't called crazy. You were called a racist and a bigot.
Oh, I was probably called that too in some regards too, for sure.
When was this?
I don't know. I don't recall that personally. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but
if you vote the opposite side, you're a racist and a bigot.
Yeah, if you don't agree with letting every illegal come into this country, you're a racist and a bigot. That's not true.
Okay.
It's about safety, but that's what they claim.
Or you ain't black.
Or you ain't black if you don't vote for Joe Biden. Joe Biden literally said those words. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black.
Sorry,
I like
Brandon,
to tell him,
black.
there's a lot of people who are black who are not going to be voting for Donald Trump.
Do you think that when Brandon votes that he'll just like spontaneously turn white?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Crazy.
So as we went along, Joe Biden kept bringing up January 6th, kept trying to drive that point home, but he kept neglecting the fact that during the BLM riots in 2020, the Democrats had no problem with that. So it's okay if it happens on January 6th. It looks good for the Democrats. It's not okay during all the businesses and cities being burnt down during BLM. So he didn't want to bring that part up.
Yeah, that was weird how that wasn't mentioned a whole lot.
No, not at all.
The whole Portland thing.
Yeah.
The whole, they didn't want to. They want to talk. They don't want to talk about that.
Yeah. Kind of lost my spot here a little bit. Hold on, just give me a second. Talk amongst yourself for a minute. I swear, I'm no professional.
Miranda,
okay, here we go.
Wow with that one though.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
I understand the car rides to work and to and from work kind of get out of hand sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
I can imagine.
So Biden again claimed that Trump decimated the economy when Joe Biden took office. It was destroyed. Again, COVID, right at that point. So if things were going down at all, it was because of that. In doing so, though, Joe Biden accidentally, inadvertently, finally admitted that inflation was at an all-time low when he took office, not at 9% as he's been claiming.
He's been claiming a lot.
Yeah, he's been claiming a lot. So, so he inadvertently said there was no inflation when I became president. It was about 1.4%, which is basically zero because absolute zero is not great when it comes to inflation. But he's been saying for the last few months that it was 9% when he took office, which is extraordinarily high. But it was never 9% until 18 months into Joe Biden's presidency. That's Joe's fault, not Putin's, not Trump's, not COVID's. That's Joe Biden's fault because of his policies. So
his policies drove that down.
I'm not a big numbers person when it comes to the political stuff and the economy, but what I focus on, like how it really affects me, like how it affects my life. When Trump was in office, I was able to buy a house. I didn't have to do as much overtime as I do now. I have to do 10 hours of overtime just to pay the bills that I have now. The bills that all increased within the past couple of years. And they're still increasing. Like our water bill is about to go up, which that was only like $20, but it's about to jump up probably twice as much now.
Yeah. Not only did goods go up, the price of energy went up because of everything he did with his policy. Gasoline went up because he stopped drilling for oil, which would have eventually created, more, and not only that, we were, he was taking money or gasoline out of strategic petroleum reserve to lower gasoline artificially, but it only lasts for so long before that runs out. You got to refill it too. So it's a Band-Aid over an open wound in that regard. So and I think when Joe Biden said there was no inflation when I became president, I think he meant that to tout his own horn, but he inadvertently touted Trump's horn in that regard because when he came into office, it's not reflective upon him because he hasn't been in office just yet.
That's my point, Eric. This man is he's burying himself.
Yeah, and Trump let him bury himself a little bit too.
And he should.
Next up, go ahead.
Real quick, just to kind of touch back on when we were talking about him creating all these jobs and everything, and it's probably because nowadays people have to have 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet.
Exactly. It's recovered jobs, and it was recovered jobs. Plus, he had multiple people taking part-time jobs to make up for the inflation prices and everything that he created for sure.
Yeah,
Jordan wrote, "Amen. I wasn't a broke bitch."
Exactly.
Fair. I agree.
I was just saying, I'm grateful for my job that they allow a lot of liberal overtime, because if they didn't, then I would be getting a second job.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yep.
One of the crazier things that Joe Biden lied about, which again, you want to talk about lies. Biden clearly has done a lot more than President Trump here. Well, clearly, based on what we're talking about here. Joe Biden claimed that Donald Trump wants to cut cops. I mean, it was the left who legitimately, during the George Floyd riots, the BLM stuff, who wanted to cut the cops and defund the police. Republicans have never called for that. Democrats are the ones who arrest criminals, and in Democratic districts, they let go the following day without so much of a slap on the wrist, but yet they convict Trump on a booking error because they hate his ass. Here's a small compilation of Democrats calling to defund police officers.
So we've been talking about defunding the police.
There's some issues that we ask police to do, like mental health issues or policing in schools and all the rest, that perhaps we can shuffle some of that money around.
Suck it up. Defunding the police has to happen. We need to defund the police.
Mayor Eric Garcetti saying, take some of the money from policing, about $150 million.
I applaud Eric Garcetti for doing what he's done.
Not only do we need to disinvest in police, but we need to completely dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department.
So yes, defund your butts. Defund you.
Yes, I support the reallocation.
Oh, by the way, this guy's out of a job now.
From
Yes,
we will be moving funding from the NYPD
to youth initiatives and social services.
They are talking about reducing the allocation of resources to that department. And I think every single city in this country ought to be thinking about the same thing.
Yes, I support the defund movement. I'm for responsible reallocation of resources.
And defund the police.
I think you do all those other things, you don't need all the money that's going to the police department. So yeah, I mean, the spirit of it, I do support that.
Yeah, and a lot of us were asked if we could imagine a future without police back in 2017 when we were running for office. And I answered yes to that question.
We are going to reduce funding in the police department and redirect that money.
There's no reason the police budget should just keep growing and growing and growing. They can make sensible cuts to police.
We propose to redirect over $7 million from the police bureau.
That our city, through our city administrative officer, identified $250 million in cuts.
Rashida Tlaib tweeting, no more policing, incarceration, and militarization. It can't be reformed.
They're saying defund the police.
Oh,
what are they saying? They're saying we want fundamental, basic change when it comes to policing.
Now, I'm not going to play the whole thing. We'll be here all night. It was about 7 minutes long, but you can find that online if you want to look up compilations of Democrats defunding the police. They're calling for that action. Now, a lot of this took place after the George Floyd death, which he would have died whether or not the cop had put his knee on his neck or not. When it comes to the autopsy that was done, he had so much fentanyl in his system, he was going to die no matter what happened. But the left don't like to talk about that because it hurts their narrative. So when they were calling for the defunding of the police, they were trying to say that cops are bad. He shouldn't have died because of the cops. But the problem is when you defund the cops like this, you get New York City, you get Chicago, you get Los Angeles, San Francisco, where all these cities who have implemented defunding the police and taking funds from those law enforcement agencies, and you get looting, stealing in broad daylight with no repercussions, nothing. You get crime. You're getting people punched in the head in New York City. You get women being shoved on subway tracks, all this sort of stuff. This is liberal policies at play. So if you want to say, yeah, we should, defund the cops, you're an idiot. I'm sorry. Yes, there are bad apple cops. There absolutely are. But the amount of bad apples out there compared to the good cops are very minuscule. Yep. So,
there's that saying that everybody's probably said at one time or another. It's like, where's a cop when you need one?
Yeah.
And this is the reason why, because cops don't have the funding. Not only that, because the government and other cities and even states are not backing the cops and helping them out. That a lot of people have left their jobs because they're not getting the support that they needed, and they're obviously not getting the funding, and if a cop screws up, even if a small way, his life is ruined.
I have a question, and I just want to hear what you think about this, Eric. Okay, during this debate, was that Russian submarine down in the Bahamas, was it mentioned at all?
No. I don't think it was.
Was it brought up at all?
No.
That you know why it's not brought up at all? Because they're coming.
Well, here's the thing. The thing about that Russian submarine, it was supposedly a maritime exercise that the Russians were coordinated with Cuba.
Not a maritime. It's too close to the United States.
I understand, especially once United States gave the authorization to Ukraine to use military missiles inside Russian territory. It makes a lot of red flags go up. That Russian sub was off the coast of Florida for a long time. So it got everybody a little on edge.
Okay. That should have been mentioned during the debate.
It should have been, but it wasn't. Obviously, I don't know why. It's just kind of weird.
I'm just bringing up that was a question that should have been brought up.
Yeah. So hopefully, I'm not sure if it's still there. Maybe it's gone home now. I don't know. It's been a minute since I've heard anything about it.
Back to what you're saying about defunding the police force.
Yeah.
The police force are there to protect American citizens. Protect and serve. That is their motto. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, then there you go. If you want no protection, you take away the protection, and then you see how bad it gets. Look at Portland. Look at Chicago. Yeah. Look at Los Angeles. Look at the Bronx.
Well, and Jordan makes a good point here, too. She said, amen. My ass would not be getting shot at if I was the police and getting paid less for it.
Exactly.
Not only do you give them less resources, but they're getting less paid to do their job.
Yeah, Jordan's right. That's the truth.
Not to mention in New York and stuff where they actually do arrest criminals and then the next day they let them go. How disenfranchised do you think those police officers actually feel when they do their job and the very next day they got to go catch the bad guy again?
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So no, Republicans and Trump are not calling for cops to be defunded or cut.
No.
That's a flat out lie from Joe Biden. He was making shit up at this point in the debate, to be honest with you. Biden then also attacked Trump for pulling out of the Paris Climate Accord agreement when it comes to looking into solutions to climate change. Mostly the reason why Trump did that is because Trump, like many people, believe that the climate change thing is a complete scam. It's
okay. Well, I believe that too. Okay.
I mean,
so
yes, climate change exists, but it is not
enough
the
said.
existential threat that Joe Biden and the Democrats like to perpetuate. So you send them money so they can pocket it for themselves. It's all a giant grift. That's all it is.
This earth hasn't changed in over 1,000 years. It's probably not going to change within my lifetime.
It heats up, it cools down. It's just the way it goes. It's always going to be that case, no matter what we do. As I've said many times before, we could fire every single nuclear weapon we have on this planet. We'd wipe out all of life with the exception of maybe a cockroach or something, and the world would just take a couple hundred years, couple thousands of years, or however many. It would keep on spinning, and it would rebuild itself right away. This earth is not going anywhere, regardless of what we do to it. We may destroy ourselves, but it's not going to. Like climate change is not going to kill us. I'm sorry, it's not.
No, it's not. It will not kill us.
No.
Now,
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say Biden then claimed that Trump wants to cut Social Security and Medicaid. This lie was perpetuated by Joe Biden at his State of the Union address earlier this year, and every single Republican in the building, when he said it, laughed out loud and laughed him out of the building because they know it's absolutely ridiculous. But this right here is a video of Joe Biden back in 1995
for Delaware
calling for the abolition and getting rid of Social Security.
When I argued that we should freeze federal spending, I meant Social Security as well. I meant Medicare and Medicaid. I meant veterans benefits. I meant every single solitary thing in the government. And I not only tried it once, I tried it twice, I tried it a third time, and I tried it a fourth time.
And luckily, it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I know.
Thank God.
My man was a go-getter.
Yeah. So I mean, again, like it's kind of like when he ran for office. When he was with Obama and was a vice president, him and Obama both said they're against gay marriage. Donald Trump has always been for gay marriage. He said that for years. Mm-hmm. And Joe Biden only recently changed his mind when he was running for president, saying, "Oh yeah, now I'm for gay marriage." The supposed Catholic who says he's a gay marriage or for gay marriage. Okay, he needs to read that Bible a little more, if you ask me. Now, again, I'm not judging. Do what you want to do. I'm just telling you my opinion, okay? So, whatever. But anyway, Joe Biden. Here's all the times that Joe. What?
This is what you just said, Eric. Man, I think he needs to read that book just a little bit more.
A little bit.
When you said it.
Yeah, sorry, a little blunt.
But here's a little bit more.
Here's Joe Biden's record of every single time he tried to cut Social Security. So this is not just something he did in 1995. He's been doing it his entire political career. But no, Trump's the one who wants to cut Social Security and Medicare. Okay, and Medicaid. Yeah, sure. Again, Joe Biden was making stuff and pulled stuff out of his ass at this point when it comes to this. I think he was running out of steam.
Out of his own ass.
He probably needed to change his diaper at this point because he was full of shit.
And if he was in any drugs, they didn't take, and they were definitely wearing off at this point. As we'll show you about what happened after the debate went off the air here in just a second. Also, Joe Biden then claimed that our economy is doing better than any other country in the world. It's the greatest one in the world. So you want to talk about exaggeration? Here's a list. It's kind of hard to see, but here's the list of best performing countries on this list as of 2024 in April of all the countries and their growth GDP forecast. Look who is way down here at about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th in the world. That's the United States. Number 1 is India. Number 2 is Ethiopia. Number 3 is Kenya. And China and Russia are ahead of us.
Well, China and Russia has gone down quite a bit. Russia was up there a little ways until all the countries started putting sanctions on Russia.
So, I mean, not to mention that, it's also been projected by the year 2050, China and India will be ahead of the United States in overall economy. So, sure, keep, Joe Biden again, leaving out context, not talking about anything of any substance, but just spouting nonsense here. So yeah, then Joe said Trump tried to kill the good border bill that was agreed to bipartisanly in the Congress too. Again, the reason why he killed the border bill was because the border bill, Yeah, it might have been a bipartisan agreement, but that was because a bunch of Rhino Republicans signed off on it, which I've pointed out here many times on the channel, that those Republicans are basically Democrats. All the Trump supporters and the actual right-wing Republicans who actually care about border security did not sign off on it, because that bill allowed thousands of immigrants to still come into this country before you were even allowed to stop them at the border or use all the new asylum patrol officers or different equipment that was supposed to be in that bill to even be used. So there was things like, Ukraine spending and other pork spending in there as well. So yeah, it was a bad bill. Joe Biden likes to say it wasn't, but it absolutely was. That's why it was killed. So
See, another thing that that side likes to harp on is that they make it sound like we don't want anybody to come into this country, and which is not the case.
No.
We want people to come into this country the right way. And from what I understand from some people who have immigrated to this country, it's kind of difficult, and maybe instead of opening the border for everybody to come in, maybe we should look at, the criteria to get into the country and see if maybe there's something that we can roll back and maybe not make it so difficult, but still be able to weed out the bad people from the good and only letting the good people in here who genuinely want to live as they're coming here to see the American dream.
Yeah. As I've said many times, yes, the process probably needs to be a little quicker. Shouldn't take you 5 years or whatever more it is to get through. I understand that, but at the same time, you've got so much of a backlog of people. That's why it's probably taking so long. Number two, you can't just let them in a whole cloth. You got to vet these people, otherwise you do get terrorists and criminals and drug runners and rapists and sex traffickers, the whole nine coming in. You've got to be smart about it. Can it be better? Yes, but apparently there's so much political bickering going on that nobody can come together on this issue, and that's why it never gets fixed. That part does need to change, absolutely. But in the meantime, Trump has tried to implement a border wall, which has slowed down some of it, but there's a lot of it that Biden wasn't going to finish. He actually sold all the extra parts that Trump didn't get to finish. Hopefully, if Trump gets back in there, he'll actually finish it, and we'll actually be able to vet this stuff better. So yeah, there's all that.
Let me tell you something. I was on a cruise about a month or two ago, and I got stuck between helping the Coast Guard with Cuban refugees that were stuck boarding our vessel, trying to get over to America.
I believe it.
And it was so bad because we had to work with the Coast Guard and 3 other vessels. Yep. These people were in a boat, probably the size of my couch.
Yeah. Packed to the rim, I'm sure.
And 2 of them died.
Yeah.
They did. They told us they died.
And for those who are seeking asylum, I hate that for them. I absolutely do. No one's saying they shouldn't come here. But again, the moment you step on the soil of America without being vetted properly, you're committing a felony. You're a criminal at that point.
Yes, it's a criminal
whether it's desperate or not. That's what it is. If we don't know who you are, deported. That's the way it should be. And that's what Trump's going to attempt to do if he gets in. But if he tried to put up a border wall, the Congress tried to say, oh, it was too much money. He wanted what, $6 billion, I think, to put up the border wall. They said it was too much. Right. It was too much money. But no, let's send $200 billion over to Ukraine. That's perfectly fine. We could ship out money over there like it's going out of style. But one border wall, they said it's racist if he puts that up. No, it's not racist. It's protecting the country, which is your first commitment as a United States president, which Joe Biden is failing at, which is also impeachable. All that seriousness. Oh, go ahead.
It should also be wrong to let these illegal immigrants to come into the country and to go into houses that like people are on vacation and basically take over those houses.
Yeah, squatters.
Like, they own that house.
Yeah, there's squatters' rights in certain states that if someone's not living in a home, if someone comes in and lives in it and stays in it for a certain amount of time, the actual homeowner no longer has rights to that home.
Yeah. Which I'm pretty sure, all these people that are in the government right now, they have probably about several houses, right? They would be pretty upset if some illegal immigrant came and took one over one of their mansions and said, this is my house now. I guarantee that immigrant would disappear.
That news story would be crazy, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Now,
but you never hear about it because they're gone. They disappeared.
Full transparency, that particular law, squatters' rights, in a lot of states, the amount of time you'd have to live in that house if someone doesn't come back would be like 10 years, 5 years, something like that. It is a long time. However, the fact that it's a law to begin with at all is ridiculous. Wild. It's not your property, period. Yeah. But if you live there long enough, you can stay there. It's yours now. That's ridiculous. And the homeowners have no rights to it after that, according to the law. All that seriousness aside, we did have kind of an interesting moment where they started to debate themselves on physical ability as well as who plays better golf. So I thought I'd play part of that for you.
It's not even senior 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart. You have to be able to hit the ball a long way, and I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as in good a shape as I was 25, 30 years ago. Actually, I'm probably a little bit lighter, but I'm in.
Yeah, and he's not wrong about that. If you've noticed, Trump looks like he has lost a little weight. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Mhm.
And Joe was talking about his handicap.
I do like Joe's reaction to that, though. That's funny.
I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6.
That right there, that part, he motherfucker said, nah.
Joe Biden, or yeah, he tried to say he got his handicap down to a 6, and Trump like, that's bullshit. And he tried to not laugh, but he couldn't contain himself any longer because he knows as a golfer that that's not true. How many videos have you seen of Joe Biden actually golfing? They're very few and far between. Trump
I
does
don't know.
it all the
I've seen
time.
him ride a bike and fall, so
Yeah, he did do that. I'll give him credit for being able to hold his balance until he parked. But yeah, I mean, so that was pretty much the summary of the debate. However, according to CNN, even, who is very left wing, who also hosted the debate, they did a poll, and 67% of the debate watchers said that Donald Trump cleaned house in this and pretty well knocked Joe Biden on his ass.
I rest my case.
Well, those 33%, I don't know what the hell they watched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't the debate.
It wasn't the same shit I seen. I tell you that.
Those are the people who believe whole cloth that everything Donald Trump was a lie. Everything that come out of his mouth was a lie, which we've shown you the lies that they say about Donald Trump are pretty much exaggerations. So it's not anything that can be verifiably proven, but the stuff that we've shown you about Joe Biden can be verifiably proven, as we've shown you here on the channel. So yeah, I mean, we also had, Democrat, the X account literally was saying the winner of tonight's debate and was showing Joe Biden clearly was the winner. I don't know what kind of crack they're smoking. It must be from Hunter's stash. But again, I don't know what you guys watched, but no, not at all. And we also had Democrat influencer who is paid by the DNC, Harry Sisson, was touting Joe Biden's major successes on X, going after Trump during the debate, and he called him out on certain things, which we definitely showed you. A lot of the stuff he called Trump out on was absolutely untrue. So yeah, these influencers, you can't trust them. This is what Harry Sisson was probably doing when he was watching the debate.
I've seen that. That's disturbing.
This is disgusting, but absolutely probably true. Because that poor guy got his nose so far up Joe Biden's rear end. It's not even funny, man. So yeah, them and the Krasenstein brothers, the Biden HQ X account, which is run by the Biden administration too. You can't believe this stuff, guys. It's just perpetuating lies. Yes. Sorry, I thought this was funny. I know it's a little gross and disgusting. But yeah. But
that's just fucking wrong, man.
After the debate was over, this is what happened after the cameras stopped rolling. Okay. This is important because we're going to watch how both candidates left the stage. Okay. Joe Biden even mentioned during this debate that they were talking about age. Joe Biden said that Donald Trump's 3 years younger than him, sure, but he's far less competent, and Joe Biden is way more competent. That's a flat-out lie if I ever saw one. But this is a video of them leaving the stage. We're going to watch Trump and Joe Biden's exit. Here's Trump's first. So Trump, waves to the moderators, says bye, walks off normally. Standard walk, no problem. Not an issue. Doesn't need Donald Trump's hand to hold him up or hold him steady or anything to that effect. And now here's Joe Biden leaving the stage. Jill Biden, his wife, comes to stage, grabs his hand, slowly walks him, and it takes him a half hour to step one step down, and now he shuffles over to the moderators.
It was like he was unsure about the fucking step, dude.
Yeah, because we've seen him fall upstairs getting onto Air Force One, so much so that they now make him use the short staircase on Air Force One to go up and down the stairs because they're afraid of him falling. It's happened so many times.
This is out of line what I'm about to say. When you were talking just now, when you said we saw him fall up while he's trying to get up, like when he's going up the stairs, half a second I thought you was about to say when he's trying to get up on Jill. I was like, nah.
I mean, maybe that too. I don't know. I don't want to. That's just disgusting. But yeah. So I mean, then of course there's this meme I thought was hilarious. We did it. We did the debate, and then Democrats are pulling the plug, which is where we're kind of lead into next year. But yeah, I mean, This was just, and again, we're having some fun here, but at the same time, let's be serious for a second. I'm happy that the fact that Joe Biden is pretty much has been exposed at this point, and even CNN and the political commentators on the left-wing media are even saying, "Yo, this is bad. We got to get him out of there because he's done. He's toast."
Who are we going to replace him with?
Well, we're getting to that.
That's the
Just a
thing.
second.
You're not doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, just a second though. But yeah, they're saying we got to replace him. So even they're saying it, right? So that tells you everything you need to know right there. I mean, what else do you need to see? And not only that, CNN, for the first time, I believe in their history, is fact-checking Joe Biden on this debate. Him and lied and told the exact same lies that he told on the debate stage. They are now fact-checking him on live after the debate.
Some of them. He said he's the only president in a while who didn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world. Troops have, of course.
Was that going like twice as fast?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, man, he had double speed on that one.
These are false or misleading Biden claims at the CNN debate. Only president in a while who didn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world. We showed you that a while ago. He said $15 per shot cap on insulin and Medicare. That was a lie. It's also not true. Even CNN saying so.
Dad's a diabetic.
He said $200 cap on overall drug spending in Medicare. Also a lie. We didn't touch on that one, but that's one CNN fact checked him on. The border now has fewer crossings than when Trump was in office. Also a lie. Donald Trump had far fewer than when Joe Biden was in office. CNN called him out on that one. Let's see here. What else did it say? The unemployment was at 50% when he took office. Not true. CNN. Yeah, Trump also wants to get rid of Social Security. We just debunked that as well. I don't know if there's. Oh yeah, billionaires pay 8.2% in taxes. Also not true. Trump told Americans to inject bleach. We saw that was not true. And Border Patrol also endorsed him. They said that was untrue. While the debate was going on, they fact checked him in real time. So that led a lot of people to speculate. Why did CNN not do what we thought they were going to do and run cover for Joe Biden? Did CNN get the go-ahead from the Democratic Party? Maybe the reason why he didn't appear as competent during the State of the as he did during the State of the Union, maybe he wasn't drugged up. Maybe the Democratic Party set Joe Biden up here and told CNN, tell the truth. And if that's the case, are they looking to replace Joe Biden?
Then why pretend to be so shocked?
Yeah, look at Jack Frost over here.
Yeah, we shouldn't be shocked.
No, not us. Why did they pretend to be so shocked at some of the realization that this was happening?
CNN or just Democrats in general?
Democrats in general.
Well, a lot of Democrat voters are like, well,
why did the Joker have his makeup?
Not voters. These ain't voters I'm talking about. Okay. You've seen the same shit we've been seeing for the last couple years with this man. So why pretend to be shocked about it? If your goal is to get him out, you could have done that a while ago.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, but even voters are saying on X, and I mean, X, as you mentioned during our live stream, X was on fire last night. There were many Democratic voters for the first time were saying, that's not the Joe Biden we know. We've never seen that side of Joe Biden. What's going on? Why is he acting like he's not there? Because the right has been saying forever, something's wrong with Joe. Something's wrong with him. He's in mental decline, or he's physically not fit for office. Robert Hur even said that, a special counsel. And now we're finally getting a chance to see it. And now Democrats have the audacity to act surprised. Like the right and Republicans and Trump have not been saying it for years. Shocker. CNN and MSNBC and the Democrats lied to you, as we've been saying and we've been called crazies because of it. So imagine why that pisses us off. I mean, come on. Oh yeah, my bad. We'll close that. But yeah, so that's pretty much the debate coverage. Any last thoughts on this, or we pretty well cover it?
No, we're good.
No,
no sense in beating a dead horse.
Yeah, I know. And I know we kind of went over the same stuff we went last night. But for those who are watching this who didn't watch that, I think it's important to get it out there.
I got one thing to say.
Okay.
I got one thing to say. And this may be an unpopular opinion, but when you go to vote, if you don't like Trump or you don't like Biden, don't be afraid to vote independent.
Thank you for watching.
Okay, or vote someone else. That's not throwing away your vote. That is you showing who you believe is in your state of mind, who is the right person to lead the country. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah. I mean, and not only that, if you're voting based on oh, well, who's nicer? Or, oh, this guy doesn't treat other people like
Hey.
jerks. Or, no, vote on what they're actually going to do in office. Yes, you can vote for the nice guy, but if the nice guy does garbage, why would you vote for him?
I just hope that they don't replace him with the governor of California.
Which is another smooth talker who literally lies with impunity and better than Joe Biden or a lot of the Democratic Party.
This guy is not the answer.
This is
He's
Gavin Newsom,
not
governor
the answer.
of California, who Bill Maher on his show loves to talk about how he would love to
Oh,
see him
yes.
replace Joe Biden because this guy's a winner. This guy can win, even though he openly admits that California is far from perfect and it's not been run great. But that doesn't matter to Bill Maher as long as Trump is defeated. It don't matter if he destroys the country as long as Trump's not in office. That's where I lose Bill Maher, because that is Trump derangement syndrome. If you're not thinking about the betterment of the country, all you care about is somebody you don't like in office. Why? Because he sued you for defaming him? Is that why?
Newsom is not the answer. He's not the answer.
Well, Bill Maher was talking about, oh, it's not personal between me and Donald Trump. It's not personal. I just don't like what he's done. Okay, but you flat out admitted on Greg Gutfeld's show on Fox that he sued you. But yet
you get Newsom, you get another crooked president. That's what he is. He's just crooked.
And not only that, he's a competent liar, a competent asshole, one who will turn us into a whole country full of feces-infested streets and terrible policies that have destroyed California. California is a beautiful state, but not under those policies.
Gas.
Yeah, Big Macs cost $13. Things like that.
Yeah. I wish I would pay $13 for a Big Mac. Boy.
Well, it's one way to get the country healthier, I suppose. You make it too expensive. It's like, brother. No, it's because
people will be going into debt to get themselves a Big Mac, man. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only because he raised the minimum wage to what, $25 for a fast food joint. That's why Big Macs went skyrocket.
Where there's a will, there's a way, brother.
But that's the rest of
somebody at fast food joint getting paid more than me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but again, they've also laid off a bunch of people because they can't afford to pay all the employees. They've all went digital with those kiosks. So again,
but Miranda and Eric, is there anything I said tonight that you thought was a little extreme or a little out of question? I think everything was what I thought. I mean,
you haven't said anything worse than I have. I promise you.
Well, I'm just saying it. I'm just tired of the crap. I'm tired of the lying.
Me too.
I think a lot of people are.
I just want to. I don't want to go to work every week and get taxed $200 from the government.
Well, remember, I don't know if you heard about this, Matt. It's been floated around, an idea that Donald Trump's been floating around with Republican congressmen, that if he gets elected, he's going to push to get rid of the federal income tax.
Yes.
If that's the case, you're not going to have at least a good $100 or so coming out of your check every single week.
That's why I'm pushing everybody to
I don't understand why
I can afford this.
It's because the government gets money from us that way. That's why they view it as not a good thing. But to all the working class people, believe it or not, yeah, Trump tries to actually help. It's not just his 1% buddies. He's trying to help the middle class. That would help the middle class more than you could possibly imagine. So when they perpetuate that lie, remember that that's something Trump is floating around, not Joe Biden.
Right.
So not to mention he's not going to tax tips on waiters and staff as well. We also discussed that on the channel too.
Yeah, it's just, it seems like it's just one side wants to raise taxes, other side wants to get rid of them.
Again, both of those take congressional approval. So Trump does need people in Congress to do that, which is why it's so vitally important to vote Republican, to get senators and House of Representatives members in there to make those things happen.
Yeah, it's
Trump
not
can't do it alone.
It's not just Trump and Joe Biden. Right. You have to flip the House. You have to.
That's why the whole argument about, well, Trump's a fascist dictator. He's going to just do everything by dictatorial fiat. No, you need the branches of government, the Senate and the House to do that with you. You have no power alone. That's all there is to it. That's why the founding fathers set it up the way they did, so there wouldn't be a dictator.
Yes.
People who believe that garbage about Trump being Hitler, you're an idiot.
We need to start paying attention to local elections too.
Yep.
Yes. That's what I'm trying to say, Miranda. You need to pay attention. It's not just Trump and Biden. It's the House. It's the Senate. It's these people from Minneapolis. These people that are up there going, they're going to defend the police. We're going to get rid of police funding. These are the people you got to get rid of.
Yeah.
1,000%. All right, well, I think that's enough for political talk for the night. We got one more small segment, and we'll get out of here. We're going to let Brandon talk a little bit about this, because I know we want to inject a little more gaming here on the channel a little bit. We're going to try to do that. So let's talk a little bit about a game coming out that Brandon wanted to talk about. How about that intro? Yeah, I like that one. So this is a game called The First Defendant or Descendant. I'm sorry.
Defendant.
I can't read. It's late. I've been trying to go over my own handwriting and notes for a while. Forgive me.
No.
But The First Descendant is coming to what? All platforms?
Yeah.
Okay.
I played this game probably about 2-3 months ago.
The beta?
I got into it along with my two boys, and we played it together.
Jackson and Jaden.
I had a blast. And yes, Jackson and Jaden. And
always be plugging.
Yeah, appreciate you, Nye. It's I guess the best way for me to describe it, it's a looter shooter game. It's kind of like games like Destiny, Warframe, Borderlands, along those type of games. I had a blast playing this game with my kids, and in times where money's strapped or whatever, these are games like these are enjoyable. It's a free to play game, 100% free. There's no buying a copy for early access. No, it's 100% free. All the DLCs free. Every character in the game you can earn through playing the fucking game. It releases the 2nd of July.
Yeah, and I think early access. I think they said June 30th, maybe.
Yeah,
but yeah.
So we should give it a try, and if we're gonna start, making some videos, let's make a video. So I'm saying the launch of it's a Tuesday. Obviously, the 2nd is a Tuesday, but I say we lock in that Tuesday night, play for a little bit, get a video or two out there, and then go from there.
Well, I'll just let you guys know that if we're going to record, the best nights for me when it comes to gaming would either be the weekends or Tuesday or Thursday. So just so you know. But I am down to do that. I definitely want to do some more gaming streams. I think probably to start out, we'll probably just record some first, but eventually I wouldn't mind going live too. That would be great.
That'd be
maybe
fun
once
too.
we get some more people to maybe watch us too. But we're definitely, we got all sorts of, Madden and college football coming out. There's games coming up this fall for sure. And of course, we got some games that we've just not had time to play together anyway that we already own, which will be a lot of fun too. We play Red Dead and GTA 5. Definitely when GTA 6 comes out, we definitely got to be doing that. No doubt about it.
I need to play golf against my wife online, or recorded, so I can get my win back. Madden for sure.
I agree
with
you
there. So.
And just to give you a little bit of a preview of the fact that we are going to be doing some gaming streams while this is running, I'll kind of show you a little bit here if I have it. I don't think I've got it uploaded yet. Maybe I don't. Oh no, yeah, I do. We can change over here. Let's look at this. This is the gaming stuff that I've kind of set up here. The kind of make it. This is multiplayer, so it'll look like that. Kind of has a little bit of a gaming feel to it. A little bit of Donkey Kong in there, some Pac-Man and some Mega Man and Mario.
I like that.
So it'll be kind of fun for us to kind of play with this little setup, a little bit of an orange background, a little bit of a different look here on the channel. So hopefully we could do that together here soon before too much longer too. I think it'd be a lot of fun. But yeah. So anything else you want to say about the game?
Again, it's free. And as far as free games go, this is probably one of the best, because it kind of holds the same model as Warframe did, where, like I said, you can buy things if you want to, but they're strictly cosmetic. It has no bearing on the game itself.
It looks a lot like Destiny.
Yes, it's like I said, if you played the Division or any looter shooter, really. So Destiny is it, but Warframe is the closest that has the same model as far as pricing goes, like I said, with cosmetics and shit.
Okay.
Right on. And if there's times that the guys or Miranda or anybody who wants to play here on the crew can't do it, I may do some solo stuff as well. Occasionally, you might see me.
There's a lot of solo games that you could play that are great. Games. I want to probably play some more COD on the channel too.
Oh, we definitely want to. Yeah.
Trying to get back into COD more, but your boy's still garbage at it. You know what I'm saying?
You want garbage? You want to watch me play because, but if you want to have a competent player, we'll let you watch Brandon stream and maybe you could see me through his lens of how dumb I am.
I will say this. I got humbled like 2 weekends ago. Jackson, you know what I'm saying? He was running off at the mouth, saying something or other, saying he was better than me, and I'm like, nah, son, it's not possible. And he kept going 1v1 me, 1v1 me. So I said, fine, whatever, let's do it. We played to 30. Okay. I got my 5 kills in early. I got fucking smoked from that point on. Like I couldn't stop it. Like he smoked me. And I had to think to myself,
hey, Daddy.
I thought I was losing step, you know what I'm saying? In my old age, I can't hang. You know?
Yeah.
Reflexes ain't what they used to be.
You got to make them get a job, that way they don't spend all their time playing games and getting good at it. You know what I mean? Say, time to jump, kids. We need to get help out around the house.
I got smoked.
Yeah, you did.
All right, I appreciate
you just got called out by your daughter.
That's wild. That's wild.
I probably should have root for Jackson.
That's crazy.
I did. I knew Jackson was going to win.
We all root for Jackson in that regard.
Because he's better than you.
All right. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and I'll take another abuse.
Because you suck at Call of Duty.
Brandon's like, you grounded.
You suck at COD.
I'm trying to hear that.
All right, guys. Well, it's been kind of a long show. We want to thank you guys for checking out the channel here, and thank you for watching the 14th edition of the Dragon's Den podcast. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to comment below. Let us know what you guys think. We're probably going to have we should be able to have a podcast next Friday night. I'm not going up to my dad's till the following day, so if you guys want to do it next week, we'll be around for that as well. Okay. Everybody's good for that. So until next week, guys, don't forget to check out the channel and subscribe and all that good jazz as well. And until then, take care and God bless.
God bless.
Bye.